World, especially for me, farm boy from Idaho. I didn't have many skills when I first awakened to the opportunity that, you could work for pay. I knew how to milk cows, but, that was about it, and it didn't pay very well. But when I was introduced to network marketing, health and nutrition, a marketing system where I could start at the bottom, go to the top, and start part-time, it literally revolutionized and changed my life forever. I've never been the same. And a big share of my story now is sharing with people around the world this extraordinary opportunity. And then along with it, the philosophy that makes it work. Because you can have every technique in the world and the best product in the world, and you can have the finest support system in the world, but unless you have the philosophy that drives you to do the necessary things to make it work, then nothing works. So I like to talk about all the things that made it work for me and see if that might not be valuable for someone else. So I want you to take some good notes. If you're ready to take notes, say, "I'm ready." Ready. I like this crowd already. Treat me well, I might take you with me as my traveling audience. Now, here's the next key on being prepared for the next century, and that is your personal philosophy. At age 25, the things that so dramatically changed my life was, number one, the discovery of a unique product that I could believe in. My mother taught nutrition, and she taught good health, so I was the beneficiary of that. It came from my grandmother, my grandfather, passed it on to my mother. She taught it, passed it on to me. My father never had a major illness, lived to be 93. My mother extended her life, according to the doctor, at least 20 years. She should have died at least 20 years earlier than she did, simply because she stretched out those years by the study of good nutrition. I was an only child, and Mama studied and, mixed up all that stuff back then. She'd say, "Hey, me and Papa and her," she said, "drink this stuff. If it don't kill us, I think it'll help," and we're gagging down this stuff. And Mama taught all of that, but the payoff was so incredible. I passed it on to my two daughters. They've never been ill. They passed it on to their children, my grandchildren. They haven't been ill. I mean, the study of good nutrition, paying attention, and being involved in the industry you're in, it's one of the best. So, that's so important. Your personal philosophy, what you believe in, that's going to carry you into the next century. Let me give you now some of the early philosophies that changed my life forever. I heard one of them in my introduction. Some of these philosophies have lived with me now all of these years. I've passed them on, and people have come back around saying, "Mr. Rohn, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, I sat in your class and sat in your seminar, and those early things that you taught, I've practiced it and I'm doing it." A man not long ago showed me notes he took 23 years ago. And then he had me sign those notes. He said, "I've used these notes to develop my life, my personal life, and my business life." And when he took those notes, he said, I was 18 years old. So it's incredible. I'm so thankful for all these years. But now I want to pass it along to you. Some of the philosophies that changed my life forever. Okay? If you're ready, say, "I'm ready." Ready. Here's the first one. Profits are better than wages. Once I understood that, I got rich. Profits are better than wages. Nobody taught me that in high school. I went to college for a year and a half. I never heard it. I'm 25 and broke. I'm not destitute. I'm broke. Too much month at the end of the money is broke. And I finally hear this philosophy. Profits are better than wages. Now here's the phrase that goes with it. Wages make you a living, which is fine. Profits make you a fortune, which is super fine. And you can live both fine and super fine. You've now got the mechanism and the ways and means to do that. Profits are better than wages. Guess what? I taught this in Moscow when I was teaching capitalism. The communists had it all wrong. They taught that capitalism was, a big company that oppresses its workers. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. They had mentally lost it when they came up with this ridiculous philosophy. Communism taught capital belongs to the state, not the people. And we taught all these years what? Capital belongs in the hands of the people, not the state. That's why, of course, kids should pay taxes, because they can be capitalists, and all capitalists should pay taxes. And it doesn't take much to start an enterprise that makes a profit. I teach kids how to have two bicycles, one to ride and one to rent. I mean, how long does it take? How long does it take to make a profit? I mean, a little ingenuity and you're on your way. So profits are better than wages. Capitalism better than communism. Communism said people are too dumb and stupid to know what to do with capital. So you must take capital away from all the dumb, stupid people and give it to the all-wise, all-knowing state. And let the state run everything. I mean, that was communism. And they devastated every country they touched. I've been to East Germany. It's taking $1 trillion just to clean up East Germany. They've already spent $500 billion. They got $500 billion more to go. I mean, every country they touched, and I've been in all of them, they devastated them all with their devastating philosophy. We teach capital belongs in the hands of the people. That's where the ingenuity is to bring goods and services to the marketplace. And I'm going to show you later the miracle of capitalism grassroots in America, which you're involved in. But once I understood this now, it was so incredible. Profits are better than wages. Now, when I first was recruited, I'm a distributor for this little product called Abunda Vita. And here's what my mentor said, Mr. Schoaf. He said, Mr. Rohn, you can start this miracle working business part-time. You don't have to go full-time. You can start part-time. And he said, if you'll devote, to start with, let's say 10, 12, 15 hours a week, where you'll start making a profit, here's what you can now say. I'm working full-time on my job and part-time on my fortune. Because profits lead to fortune. I got so excited about that philosophy. I'm working full-time on my job, but now I'm working part-time on my fortune. I found a way not only to make a living, you won't believe this, I found a way to make a fortune. Can you imagine what that's like then to get up in the morning? To go to work on your fortune? Not to go to work to pay the rent, which is okay, but a chance to go to work to make a fortune? And I said, right now I'm working part-time on my fortune and full-time on my job, but it won't be long until I'll be working full-time on my fortune. Can you imagine what life is going to be like? Now, here was my first goal when I started, and that was part-time. I wanted to equal on my profits part-time what I was earning on my full-time job. This is called the magic of part-time. It is so thrilling for people to start working the business part-time, because now you can work on profits, and it doesn't take very long. If you'll really concentrate on those 10, 12, 15 hours a week, it won't be long if you really do it right and learn some of the skills I'm going to talk about. It won't be long until you can be earning as much part-time working on your fortune as you are full-time working on your job. I did that in less than 6 months. Now I've got an incredible invitation. I found a way part-time to work on my fortune, and I'm making as much money at that as I am on my full-time job. Would you like to hear my story? It was incredible. Now, here was my second goal, to make twice as much money part-time working on my fortune as I was working full-time on my job. And I reached that in less than a year. Making twice as much money part-time working on my fortune as I was full-time working on my job. Now I've got an incredible invitation that won't quit. I found a way, through a unique opportunity, to work part-time on my fortune, and I'm now earning twice as much money as I am working full-time on my job. Would you like to hear my story? Do you imagine anybody would say, no, I don't care to hear your story? No. Everybody I said that to said, wow, yes, what are you doing? I said, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. Now, when I started making twice as much money part-time as full-time, here's my dilemma. I didn't want to go full-time. And why not go full-time? And the reason was because I didn't want to give up my electrifying story. Right? It was so powerful, nobody could resist the invitation to at least take a look. I didn't want to give it up. And I hung on for I don't know how long until it was, almost insane. And then finally, reluctantly, I gave up my full-time job. But now, you can imagine the thrill and excitement of going to work full-time on my fortune. It was incredible. But I want you to jot down the magic of part-time. What does it take to really change a person's lifestyle? Not very much. An extra $1,000 a month, I'm telling you, will drastically change most American families' lifestyle. And that's why part-time is so valuable, because it very quickly changes a person's lifestyle. And here's what the change in lifestyle does. It's a great recruiting tool. One of the greatest recruiting attractions is the money you make part-time. Somebody said, "You've been on 3 vacations this year?" Says, "Yes, I got this little part-time thing going." Says, "What's that?" "You bought 2 new cars, one for you and one for her. How did you do that?" Said, "I got this little part-time thing going." Your kids have got all these new clothes? Yes. All this stuff is happening. What is it? An extra $1,000 a month. See, $1,000 a month full-time, nobody wants to hear your story. $1,000 a month part-time that starts to change your lifestyle, everybody wants to hear your story. So the key is part-time. The magic and the attraction of part-time gives you a classic invitation for somebody to listen to what you're doing that's changing your life. And it's not just necessarily the money that changes your life. It's what you do with the money. It's the change of lifestyle. So part-time helps to change lifestyle, which gives you a classic invitation to look at what you're doing. That's how I started in network marketing, age 25. Wow, these philosophies changed my life. I wish I would have learned them in high school. In high school, if they would have offered Wealth 1, Wealth 2, I'd have taken both classes. I wouldn't have waited until I was 25 and broke. Here's the next one. Philosophy that helped change my life. It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens. All of us are in like a little sailboat. And it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It's the set of the sail. So jot this phrase down. It's one of the best to understand. Kids need to understand it. The same wind blows on us all. The same wind blows on us all. The wind of disaster, the wind of opportunity, the wind of change. The wind when it's upside down, the wind when it's favorable and unfavorable. The same wind blows on us all. The economic wind, the social wind, the political wind. The same wind blows on everybody. The difference in where you arrive in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, the difference in arrival is not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail. And that's what learning is all about, to set a better sail this year than last year. To set a better sail. The first 6 years of my economic life, I wound up broke. Second 6 years, I wound up rich. You say, well, the Democrats must have finally gotten power. No. It was not a political change. Here's what changed the second 6 years of my economic life. It was my philosophy that changed. The set of the sail of better thinking, correcting the errors of the past and picking up new disciplines for the future. That's all I had to do at the end of the first 6. Correct the errors of the past and then pick up some new disciplines for the future. And my total life changed. The second 6 years was totally different than the first 6 of my working life. And guess who can do that? Anybody. Now, you can keep on the same path for the next couple of years as you have the past 2. But if you wish to, and maybe everything's okay for you and you don't need to, but if you need to make some changes, I'm telling you, you can start doing it today so that the next 2 years will be drastically different than the last 2. And anybody who wishes to do that can. And you can do it between ages 40 and 43. You can do it between ages 13 and 15. You can do it between ages 60 and 62. Any 2 years, any 5 years that you wish to drastically change from the previous 5, you can do it. If you wish to. Now, this isn't written. This is not a law. Here's what it's called, opportunity. But if you don't know you can change, if you don't know you can drastically change your income, change your future, change your health, change your marriage, change everything. If you don't know that, some people then go year after year after year after year not making much change simply because they didn't get to the class. They never read the book. They never went to the seminar. They never made the discovery. They didn't seek for the knowledge of how could I make my life better. And if you just rock along, I'm telling you it's okay. Anybody can live any way they choose, but I'm here to tell all of you that if you wish to, it's possible to make the next 3 years totally different than the last 3. And all you have to do is just a few things. So if you got that one now, it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your income. It's not the blowing of the wind that determines your fortune. It's the set of the sail. And that's why we gathered here today. Maybe I've got some ideas that'll help you with a couple of little things about setting the sail of your thinking that might drastically give you multiplied more benefit the next 3 years than you've gotten in the last 3. So it's not what happens. What happens to everybody. Chevron years ago brought me in to talk to management. They said, Mr. Rohn, you travel around the world and you're fairly knowledgeable. What do you think the next 10 years are going to be like? I said, gentlemen, I can tell you I do know the right people. So they all leaned forward and listened carefully. And I said, gentlemen, the next 10 years are going to be about like the last 10. The next season after fall is, well, I promise you that's not going to change. After day comes night. I promise you that's not going to change. Here's how the last 6,000 years reads. If you want to make a note of Jim Rohn's vision of history the last 6,000 years, here's how it reads. Opportunity mixed with difficulty. And if we're around another 6,000 years, it's going to read like that looks like for the next 6,000 years. Opportunity mixed with difficulty. Now, sometimes there seems to be more opportunity than difficulty, and then sometimes there seems to be more difficulty than opportunity, but the mix isn't going to change. After expansion comes recession. But after recession comes expansion. Not to think so, see, is naive. And once you've got just a little of this stuff settled, then you know exactly what to do. You know exactly what to anticipate, so you can be ready. Now, here's the next one, and I heard it in my invitation. Here's what it says. For things to change, you have to change. I was hoping the government would change, and taxes would change, and economics would change, and my boss would change and be more generous. I wished for everything to change, and my teacher said, no, Mr. Rohn, for things to change for you, you have to change. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Once I understood this altered the course of my life. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. And here's the big one. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. You don't need less problems. You simply need more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. Accept the challenge, because you can't grow without a challenge. You can't get rich without a challenge. You can't fly without gravity. You have to understand the challenge. But that's the key, is to now develop wisdom to overcome the challenge. Don't wish for less challenge, but more wisdom. And then here's one more philosophy that helped change my life forever. You can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens. Humans can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens. Philosophies that changed my life. Here's one of the big philosophies I learned in network marketing. It's called the law of averages. If you do something often enough, a ratio will appear. Key phrase, if you do something often enough, a ratio will appear. It's amazing. It's uncanny. In baseball, we call it batting average. If you talk to 10 people, one says yes. Now the ratio has begun. 1 out of 10. Talk to 10, get 1. Here's something interesting about the law of averages. Once it starts, it tends to continue. This is colossal information. Once a ratio starts, it tends to continue. If you talk to 10 and get 1, sure enough, chances are excellent. If you talk to 10 more, you'll get another one. Talk to 10 more, you'll get another one. Now you can compete. If you can only get 1 out of 10, you can compete, even with somebody that can get 9 out of 10. If you've been here a long time, you can get 9 out of 10. I just joined, I can only get 1 out of 10. If we have a 30-day contest, I will beat you. Say, well, how could you beat me? Here's why. During that 30 days, you talk to 10 and get 9. I talk to 100 and get 10. I beat you. Isn't that clever? This is clever stuff. And I do it for two reasons. I sincerely wish to win. But I do it for another very sincere reason. I wish for you to lose. And that's noble on my part. Here's why it's noble. You learn more by losing than you do by winning. So I wish to give you that experience. Now here's how I do it once I understand the law of averages. When I'm new, I make up in numbers what I lack in skill. I make up in numbers what I lack in skill. Now who can do that? Anybody that's ambitious. Anybody with a little ingenuity. Anybody. Doesn't matter. Now here's one more. The law of averages can be increased. You get 1 out of 10, talk to 10, get another one. Talk to 10, get another one. The fourth time you talk to 10, you get 2. Why would the fourth time you talk to 10, you get 2 instead of 1? You're getting better. You're getting better. And who can get better? Anybody. Talk to 10, get 2. Talk to 10, get 2. Finally, talk to 10, get 3. I finally got up to about 3. Now, it takes more than a genius to go past like 3 or 4. But 3 will do. If you bat 300 in baseball, they pay you $4 million a year, which means you're out 7 times out of 10. 7 times out of 10, out. Make $4 million a year. Are you ready for that? So, this works so well now in your business. Just jot the phrase down. You don't have to bat 1,000. You don't have to bat 1,000 to make big money. 1 out of 10 is fine. 2 out of 10 is terrific. 3 out of 10 is fabulous. Some particular incredible genius might get 4 out of 10. But 3 out of 10 is sufficient to make you rich beyond your wildest imagination. This is how I went after my friends, neighbors, and relatives when I first started recruiting. I said, look, I've got a new business, and I'm getting about 3 out of 10 to join. And I don't mind you. Just come to the meeting and be one of the 7. Right? Doesn't matter. Right? You're my friend, you'll do me a favor. And so it's not important to me that you like it. It's not important to me that you join. It's certainly not important to me that you buy. It's just important to me that you listen. One of the reasons, though, I want you to hear the story is because a year from now, if I'm doing well, I don't want you to say, how come you never picked up the phone a year ago? I never got a letter, never got a call. You call me a friend? You're making all this money? You never picked up the phone. So I don't want that to happen. So for 2 reasons, I want you to see what I'm doing. So that a year from now, if I'm doing well, I can say, I gave you the opportunity. But also, just as a favor, come and be one of the 7. It doesn't matter to me if you buy or join. But I need 10 to get 3. And if you're one of the 3, wonderful. If you're not, wonderful. It doesn't. It might matter to you. It might matter to you, but it doesn't matter to me. Now, it matters to me because we're friends, but it doesn't matter in terms of my averages. So if you decide to get rich, just learn the law of averages. You're off and running. Now, here's the second law that changed my life forever in network marketing. I learned the law of sowing and reaping. And in the law of sowing and reaping is also the story of the law of averages. Jot this down. The story of the sower comes from the Bible. I'm an amateur on the Bible, but this is such a useful story. Here's what the story says. And take the notes because the drama's in the details. The sower was ambitious. Evidently, he was ambitious. When you read the whole story, you'll conclude, yes, this was an ambitious sower. Here was number 2. He had excellent seed. The sower who sowed the seed had excellent seed. And the excellent seed can be an excellent opportunity, an excellent product, an excellent story. So we've got an ambitious sower with excellent seed. But now here's the rest of the details of the story. For your information, for the drama of your life, so you can understand things better. Learning some of this is how I got rich by age 31. Okay. Number 1, it says the sower goes out to sow the seed, but the first part of the seed falls by the wayside and the birds get it. So jot this down. The birds are going to get some of the seed. The birds are going to get some of the seed. Now you say, well, Mr. Rohn, what does that mean? Well, I invite John to come to a meeting. He said he'd be there Tuesday night. Tuesday night I show up, John isn't there. I say, John, I wonder why John didn't make it. Now I know the answer. The birds. The birds. John had this great idea of coming to the meeting to look at an opportunity, and somebody stole it and said, you're not going to go see network marketing. And he says, well, maybe not. So have you jotted that down now? The birds are going to get some. Now, when the birds get some, you've got two options. Number one is to chase birds. And say, well, let me get a hold of the person that talked him out of coming to the meeting. I'll tear him a new page. But I wouldn't do this. Here's what happens if you go chasing birds. You leave the field. If you go chasing birds now, you leave the field, which is going to distract from your future, not add. So you can't chase birds and try to straighten this stuff out. Here's what it is. It's just one of those things. And here's the best comment when things are a little disappointing. Isn't that interesting? You just have to say, I thought sure he would be there. He promised me. He promised me. But I know it was the birds. And you just have to say, isn't that interesting? Now, here's the rest of the story. It says, the sower kept on sowing. See, that was the secret to his success. He kept on sowing. And if you keep sowing, you can sow more than the birds can get because there aren't enough birds. If you keep sowing, there are some birds, but there's not enough because the law of averages will work for you. My mentor taught me, he said, you know, Mr. Rohn, there's only 9 or 10 real nasty, miserable people in the whole world. Now, he says they move around a lot, you know, and you're liable to... You'll bump into one once in a while. But when you bump into one, you say, there's only 9 more like you. I can handle that in the whole world. Okay. Now, here's what else it says. The sower now keeps sowing the seed. Now the seed falls, the story says, on rocky ground where the soil is shallow. And the rocky ground where the soil is shallow is not of your making, because you had excellent seed and you were an ambitious sower. So the rocky ground where the soil is shallow is not of your making. But here's what it says what happened. This time, the little seed that falls in the ground starts to grow, and the little plant starts to grow. But the first hot day, it withers and dies. It dies. Not an easy thing to watch. I finally get John started. Sure enough, 3 or 4 days later, somebody says, boo, and he goes... He's gone. Doesn't show up at the second meeting. And I say, I thought sure John would last a week. What happened? Jot this down. The hot weather is going to get some. And this is not of your making. Here's what you must say when that happens. Isn't that interesting? Wow. What can you do? The answer is nothing. You say, well, I'm going to try to change this. I wouldn't take that class. You know, the sun comes up in the east. Somebody says, why is that? I wouldn't spend much time on that. Just let that happen. Don't go for this why stuff. I'm giving you the answers here. The answers is in the structure and the consequences and in the deal. The answer is in the deal. Anything beyond that is not worth study. You say, well, how come some just last a little while? I wouldn't sign up for that class. Here's the answer. Some don't stay. You just have to jot that down. And when some leaves, you say, that's one of those that don't stay. Now you know what category to put them in. And you can't solve this now. It's like rearranging the seasons. You can't fool with that. All you can do is cooperate with the way things are set up. I didn't set it up. You say, well, it shouldn't be this way. Well, when you get your own planet, you can rearrange this whole deal. But on this planet, you're a guest. You got to take it as it comes. Now, here was the secret to the ambitious sower with good seed. It said he kept on sowing. Now, here's what he had to do to keep on sowing. He had to discipline his disappointment. This is a key phrase now to use the rest of your life. You must learn to discipline your disappointment, because you didn't set up the setup, and some are not going to stay, and that is not of your making. Now, if you made gross errors and you ran them off, see, that'd be different. Now, you're responsible for that. But if it's in the normal course of things, this is the way things are. Now, here's what it says. The sower keeps on sowing. Now it says the seed falls on thorny ground. And somebody says, well, how much of this do you have to go through? Well, hang on. It's not the end of the story now. Now the little seed falls on thorny ground, and now the little plant starts to grow again. But as the little plant starts to grow, the thorns choke it to death, and it dies. So jot this down. The thorns are going to get some. And that's not of your making. And what are these thorns? The story even called these little thorns, little cares, little distractions, little somethings. Who knows what all they are? I say, John, we had a meeting last night. You weren't here. John says, well, I can't make every meeting. I say, why not? You're part-time. He said, well, the screen door came off the hinges. And you just can't let your house fall apart. You got to take some time and fix things up. And I can hear the thorns going, He says some extra trash had piled up in the garage. You can't let mountains of trash take over. You got to keep your trash hauled out. People who let little things cheat them out of big opportunities. People who let little things cheat them out of big opportunities. And you feel almost helpless. What could I do about that? And that's nothing. And you say, well, why is this? I'm asking you not to sign up for that class. Don't sign up for these why is this class. It's just the way it is. Like winter following fall and spring following winter. So if you got that, the thorns are going to get some. But now here's the good news. Let's read the rest of the story now quickly. The sower now what? Keeps on sowing the seed. Keeps on sharing the story. Keeps on giving an invitation. Yes, the invitation can be more powerful for me as it was 1 year later than it was the first month. Because now I'm saying I'm making twice as much money part-time as I'm making on my full-time job. Yes, the story can be more powerful, but the law of average is still going to work. But now here's what the story said. Finally, the seed falls on good ground. Finally, the seed falls on good ground. Now put this in parentheses. It always will. If you keep sowing. If you share a good idea long enough, it will fall on good people. But now here's the rest of that story. Some of the good ground did 30%. And some of the good ground did 60%. And some of the good ground did 100%. You say, well, why the difference in numbers? I wouldn't sign up for that class. Go on. Have I said that often enough now? Don't register for that class. It's just the way it is. Now, I tried to get the 30s to do 60. Found out it was more than I could handle. I used to say, I'll make them successful if it kills me. I almost died. No, you can't do that. Here's what you do. Let the 30s do 30 to the best of their ability and keep doing 30, because that's how they build their lifestyle and get what they want out of life. And let the 60s do 60, and let the 100s do 100s. Now, how can you get some to do 100%? You got to go through all these experiences, and you got to talk to all these people. Let me quickly give you now a list of the skills that changed my life forever. Developing a new philosophy that I could do it in my network marketing experience now led me to developing new skills. Right? I knew how to milk cows, but didn't pay well. Here's the first skill I learned that changed my life. Getting a customer. Making a sale. And of course, sales for you is easy, right? Because it's not technical. Right? The technical is all taken care of. You simply represent your product. If you share a unique product, talk about its merits, persuade someone that it's the best, they agree to buy, that's the simple art of sales. But in your business, here's what it's more like, sharing. Because using the product yourself, gathering some testimonials, you simply share that. So we're not talking like high-powered spacecraft technical skills here. It's simply sharing something you've discovered with someone else and doing it well enough to where they agree they would like to participate. Now here's what happened when I learned sales. It multiplied my income by 5. Now it didn't take that much because I wasn't doing that well in farm country. But it did multiply my income by 5. Sales. Getting customers. Laying that incredible foundation for an entrepreneurial career. So now I've got 2 skills. Milking cows and making sales. Here's the next one I learned that changed me forever. And that's recruiting. Introducing the business opportunity to new people. Learning how to give a good invitation. Learning how to give 2 kinds of presentation, formal and informal. And the third part of recruiting, of course, is following up. Once you start a new life, now you got to take care of it, like a new mother would take care of her baby. You don't start a new life and abandon it. You start a new life and nourish it like a mother and protect it like a father. You got to be both mother and father to a new person. Nourishment, ideas like a mother. Protection, help defend your new life against the encroachment of outside voices that would try to talk them out of it. So you got to be mother and father in this art of recruiting. We call it being a sponsor. And being a sponsor is like being a bridge, helping somebody from darkness to light, from skeptic to faith, from not knowing to knowing, from no confidence in themselves to starting to gain confidence. You're the bridge that helps people from the shadows to the sunlight. It's one of the most exciting positions to occupy in all of network marketing industry, is the bridge, helping people crossing the bridge, out from discouragement into recognition. Being this bridge, that's what the recruiting magic is all about. You've got the answers. They've been looking for the answers. You've got the answers. And you help them cross this bridge. You see something in them before they can see it in themselves. You assure them that it's possible to be more than they are, therefore they can earn more than they've got, have more than they possess. This is one of the great arts in the world. And here's what's exciting about this art. It pays big money. Because now you operate a unique philosophy taught first in the Bible. John Kennedy taught it in his inaugural speech. Zig Ziglar's got one of the best ways to put it. And that's the secret to wealth. The secret to wealth and fortune. First taught in the Bible. Because the question was asked, how can we achieve greatness, great wealth, great power, great influence, great recognition, great self-esteem? How can we achieve greatness? The master teacher was asked. And here was his formula for achieving personal greatness. He said, find a way to serve the many, for service to many leads to greatness. For those that are interested. Some people aren't interested, but for those that are, service to many leads to greatness. Someone says, well, best I can do is just take care of myself, which is okay, but it doesn't lead to greatness. Somebody says, I got enough bills of my own, I can't worry about someone else's bills. That's okay, but it doesn't lead to greatness. Greatness is helping people pay their bills, you forget about yours. Because if you help enough people pay theirs, yours disappear. Help people with problems, your problems disappear. The key to greatness, the master teacher taught, is finding a way. Now, a lot of people would like to serve many people, but they don't have a way. And what's exciting about you and your business is you've now got the way. Whether you use it or not, it's up to you. Whether you cash it in or not is up to you. Whether you make a fortune or just a little, that's all up to you. Each person's ambition. It's called the same marketing. The same product. The products are the same for everybody here. The marketing system is the same. The difference is each person's philosophy and each person's individual ambition. But whatever your ambitions are, now you've got the ways and means. And here's what you've got the ways and means to do. Serve as many people as you would like. Now here's what's exciting about recruiting. With what you're involved in here, you can directly and indirectly affect the lives of dozens of people. Some of you are going to directly and indirectly affect the lives of hundreds of people. And some of you, if you wish, can directly and indirectly affect the lives of thousands of people. And the pay is accordingly. If you affect a few, you earn that pay. If you affect the many, you earn that pay. But the secret is found in the Bible. Service to many leads to greatness. Now, John Kennedy said it in his inaugural speech. Here's what he said: don't ask. Don't we wish that was the current political philosophy? Where is John Kennedy and his philosophy? John Kennedy said, don't ask. That's important if you understand philosophy. He said, don't ask what the people can do for you. Don't ask what the country can do for you. Don't ask what the government can do for you. That's not how you get rich. That's not how you have high self-esteem. That's not how you get trophies to put on the mantle above the fireplace, asking what the people can do for you. Don't ask, he said, what the people can do for you, but ask, what could I do for my country? And the country means the people. What could I do for the people? I want trophies. I want recognition. I want high self-esteem. I would even like a chance to make a fortune. John Kennedy says it's easy. Don't ask what the people can do for you, but ask, what could I do for the people? Could I directly and indirectly serve many in my country? And now that you are participating in this program, the answer is yes. Now, Zig probably said it best. Zig's got some great stuff. Zig and I have been good friends for a lot of years. Zig says money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. Zig, you're right. Zig says, my dentist told me, Zig, only floss the teeth you want to keep. You know, forget the rest. But here, Zig is famous for this now. This is one of Zig's philosophies, and it goes right along with the other two, the Bible and John Kennedy. Here's what Zig says: if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. Now, wanting everything you want, we call that self-interest. But it's okay to have self-interest if you do it in a positive way. By helping enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. Now, you can accomplish all that by learning this next skill called recruiting. And I learned it, and it made me fortunes. So now I've got 3 skills: milking cows, making sales, and recruiting. Here's the next skill I learned that paid big money: organizing. Once you got a few, get them to work together, see, and that's magic. Getting people to work together is magic. Now, yes, it's challenging, like having several members of your family, getting them to work together is challenging, but it's magic. Getting husband and wife to work together is challenging, but it's magic when it happens. But everything magic is challenging. Just got to jot that down. Everything magic is challenging. But once you figure out the challenge and go for it, then the magic occurs. Let me tell you how magical people working together is. Let me quote the Bible again. It says, if 2 or 3 agree on a common purpose, nothing is impossible. Just try that on for your mental size. If 2 or 3 agree on a common purpose, nothing's impossible. Everybody's looking for a challenge. Here's what I teach, especially the kids. Here's the best challenge in the world. Let's go do it. Not you go do it. Let's go do it. If 2 or 3 of us decide on a common purpose to do it, nothing's impossible. Incredible. Working together, organizing. Now, when everybody's an independent, now it's a little more challenging. Like having kids, they've each got their own opinions. They've each got their own ambitions and desires. It's challenging. You've got a variety. But that's what makes life, the variety. And it is, in your business, it is challenging, getting people to work together. It's like herding cats. Sheep are easy, but you got to try cats, herding cats. But if you can possibly get it done, the power is so immense when you get people to work together. Here's one of the powers of working together: shared testimonials. If I've got somebody new and you're there and I'm there, I give them my testimonial, you give your testimonial. Maybe what tips the scales in getting me a new person is not my testimonial, but my partner's testimonial. Somebody I'm working with, their testimonial got them. Shared testimonials are so powerful. That's why working together is okay, is powerful. Now, working by yourself is okay. All this stuff is okay. Everybody needs to know, though, where are the advantages? And these are some of the advantages. I learned to organize, paid big money. Here's what I next learned to do: promote. Promotion now pays staggering money. Now, the company comes up with what we call major promotions. Here's what you've got to come up with: the smaller promotions. The company comes up with major recognition. You've got to come up with small recognition for your people around you. The top 5. The company's got top 5. You've got your own top 5 in maybe 2 or 3 categories: top 5, top 5, top 5. And those little recognitions, to reach certain levels in the company, you have to take major steps. But for you, recognition, let them take small steps. Here's one of the secrets of your kind of business: rewarding people for small steps of progress. Rewarding people. Sometimes it's just recognition, handshake, pat on the back. Mary, you're doing a fabulous job. And you figure out what those recognitions are. Small steps of progress. Guess what promotion pays if you learn it well? Big money. Getting people to do something they wouldn't ordinarily do by themselves. People will do some unique things by themselves, but if you can figure out a way to say, Mary, if you do this and this, she says, well, I'll go for it. Now, she wouldn't have thought of that on her own. Here's what works magic. It's better than money. Money's a bit unimportant. Here's what's important: ingenuity. The best place to wake up your ingenuity is what you're doing right now. Representing a unique product and getting customers, recruiting distributors, and promoting and all this stuff. Ingenuity. Figuring out a way. If it doesn't work this way, we'll work another way. I used my ingenuity, made a fortune. My ingenuity worked on doing all these campaigns: the spring campaign and the summer campaign and the winter campaign. This week we're going to recruit school teachers. How many of you got? How many of you got? This is school teacher week. School teacher month. I'd pick out a little category and say, let's go for it. And it doesn't matter what it is. Just dream up something so that somebody's got a little more objective to go for than just their own. Key phrase: we all need to belong to something bigger than ourselves. Because we furnish inspiration for what's bigger, and the bigger furnishes inspiration for us. I learned promotion and it paid big money. Here's next I learned: communication. How to conduct a meeting. I learned identification, logic and reason, attack and confess, solution. Simple deals on communication. Wasn't easy for me at first. I stood up to give my first presentation, my mind sat back down. Right? Y'all been through that? Opened my mouth, nothing came out for a while. But here's what I did. I did it again. Just jot that phrase down. I did it again. That's the secret to how I got here. 35, 40 years later, it's how I got here. I did it once, it was uncomfortable. That first presentation was so lousy, if I hadn't have been doing it, I'd have gone home. It was not that good. But here's the secret to how I got here. I did it again, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and I did it again. I remember when I first decided to be a little more animated, right? And walk out away from the podium, right? Get out from just behind the podium. So I got out there, and then I thought, how do you get back? Whoa, I'm stranded out here. Remember those times? Doing something for the first time? But you learn quickly in your business, right? In your business, the guy stands up to give his first testimonial, and he's so nervous he forgets his own name, right? And 30 days later, he wants to give a 3-hour testimonial, right? You hardly get him off the stage. So, learn communication. How to affect other people with words. That's the greatest art in the world to learn. How to affect other people with words. Key phrase: don't be lazy in language. If you learn to use the gift of your own language wisely, it can make you a fortune and build an incredible life. Here's 3 other things I learned. One is to train. Training people how the business works. And then I've used another word called teach. Train and teach. And only to say this: training people how the business works, teaching is how life works. Because here's what all of us need for the 21st century: business skills and life skills. The life skills are leadership skills. The life skills are learning how to set goals. Now here's the ultimate skill to learn that can transform your life and the life of whoever will listen: the ability to inspire. Inspire means help people to look up a little higher than where they are and wish they could get there, and inspire them that it's possible. Here's how we inspire: by our own testimonial. If I can do it, you can do it. Here's how else we inspire: by others' testimonial. If they can do it, Mary, you can do it. Getting people to see themselves better than they are. Getting people to see themselves richer than they are. Getting people to see themselves more capable next year than they are this year. Getting to see themselves in the future. To help both your kids and your people, here's what you must learn to do. Number one, help people to see themselves as they are. If people have made mistakes, they got to know it. You can't go on making mistakes and hope to achieve. Mistakes have to be corrected. And you've got to do it with your children. Help them to see themselves as they are. If they've messed up, here's what you've got to say. You've messed up. But here's what's important as a parent. Don't leave them in the mess. Some parents, tell their kids they've messed up and then they leave them in the mess. They don't paint a better picture. Here's what you could become with just a couple of more changes. Rather than this, here's what you could be. So we must help our children see themselves as they are, but here's the greatest gift. To help our children see themselves better than they are. To transport them not only past to see their mistakes, but transport them to the future to see their opportunity. To see the person they can become. My mentor had that greatest gift to help me to see myself better than I was. At first it was difficult to see. Then I started to believe, and that's how I got here today. He said, one of these days, Mr. Rohn, you'll walk into a room full of people, and you will hear some of them say, that's him, that's the famous man. I said, well, that could never happen to me. He said, trust me. If you keep working hard on the disciplines like you're doing right now, that'll happen. You'll walk into a room full of people, and you'll hear one say, that's him, that's the famous man. He saw it, and he tried to get me to see it. And now finally it's happened. I think when I walked in here today, I think I heard someone say, that's him, that's the famous man. It happened for me. And if it can happen for me, it can happen for you. Just master these skills to inspire. Here's what else I learned, the skills of building an organization. Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. You must be like life itself. Respond to deserve, not to need. It doesn't say if you need, you will have a harvest. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll have a harvest. It's not what it says. It says if you plant, chances are good you'll have a harvest. If you plant, you will reap. Not if you need, you will reap. So we must be like life itself. Respond to the people who deserve it by planting, by taking the first step. Even God himself says, if you move toward me, I'll move toward you. That's the condition. You move toward me, I'll move toward you, says the Almighty. Now, he could also say, you don't move, I don't move. You say, well, that's arbitrary. Well, when you're God, you can set it up that way. Now, learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Now, here's what's the next step. Teach people how to deserve your time. Teach people how to deserve your attention. Teach people how to deserve a phone call. Say, Mary, you just take this one step and I take 2 steps. You take 2 steps, I take 5 steps. You don't step, I don't step. But this isn't hard now. You step, I step. You respond, I respond. You try, I try. You make a call, I back you up. Right? Learn to teach people how to deserve your time and your attention. Next, I learned to work by group more than individual. Here's why. 80% of the people do 20% of the business. So 20% of the people you can work with individual. 80% you have to work with by group. But group is very powerful, less confrontational. Then here's what's important for all of you to learn as a sponsor, helping other people. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. And I'm sure all of you have already gotten that experience, even though you've been here a short time. Some people will try to get on your back. That's where we got that expression, get off. That's where we got that. A guy discovered somebody on his back and said, what? I can't carry you, get. Now, if you're like some I see here, 6'4" and you weigh 300 pounds, you might carry one, and if you were really big enough, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something, you might carry 2, but you can't carry 3. When babies are born, they were not designed just to be carried. Babies were not born to be carried all their life. Someday you've got to try your legs. Someday you got to try your wings. Someday you got to try. Even if you fall down, you got to try, because you can't just crawl around all your life. You can't be carried all your life. So as quickly as possible, you can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Next, don't expect the pear tree to bear apples. I used to try to change everything. You can hang apples on a pear tree. I'm telling you, it won't help. You can put up a sign, this is an apple tree. Sure enough, come the season, pears. Here's what I learned. You cannot change people, but they can change themselves. You cannot change people, but they can change themselves. Incredible. Capital in your business isn't what matters. Okay, it's not the money that buys you a future. It's your skills that buy you a future. Money and no skills, and I'm telling you, you're still poor. Money and no ambition, where are you? Money and no courage, you're broke. A little bit of money and a whole lot of courage. That's all we need. I'm looking for people when I'm recruiting back in those days, and the money didn't matter. What mattered to me was somebody's willingness, somebody's ingenuity, somebody's willingness to try. Right? If they had $1 to invest, that was plenty for me. $1 and some ambition, and I can show you how to get rich, and it'll be one of the classic stories of the company. I go to recruit somebody, they say, I don't have any money. See, I've been looking for you for 6 months. Let me show you how to do it without any money. Because here's the rules of capitalism. Jot this down. You can either buy and sell, or if you're in certain circumstances, you can sell and buy. If you've got ambition. Now, if you haven't got ambition, we can't cure that, and money won't cure lack of ambition. But if you've got $1 and some ambition, I'll show you how to get rich. And even if you don't have $1, I'll show you how to get rich, because you can sell and buy. Somebody says, as soon as the product arrives, I'll sell it. Then you don't understand. You don't understand the magic of fortune if you say, I have to wait till it gets here to sell it. And you probably don't understand the value of your own story. Once I understood that, I knew I was going to be wealthy. That's why right in the beginning, I started giving big tips. I knew I was going to be wealthy. Say, wow, this guy tips like a rich man. I said, that's right, he tips like a rich man. Even in the beginning, I tipped like a rich man because I knew I was going to be rich. Wow. Isn't this fun? Yes. So jot these phrases down as I close. Number 1, the greatest value in life is not a bank account. The greatest value in life is not a car, a home to live in. The greatest value in life is this. Make a note. Living a good life. In the midst of all of our achieving and recruiting and building and growing, helping other people, being a part of society and the country and the world, being all of this stuff, here's what you must figure out all of your life, how to continually live a good life. So let me give you my short list. I'll cover the long list the next time I see you. Here's the short list on a good life. Number 1, productivity. If you don't produce, you won't be happy. Here's number 2, good friends. The greatest support system in the world is good friends. You got to work on that. Don't be careless here. Friends are those wonderful people who know all about you and still like you. Here's next, spirituality. I'm not asking you to be a believer. I am a believer that humans are more than an advanced form of the animal kingdom. I'm a believer that we're a special creation. I don't ask you to be a believer, but here's what I do ask. If you are a believer, here's what you must do. Study, practice, and teach. Whatever's valuable to you, study, practice, and teach. Repeat it after me now. Again. Study, practice, and teach. Here's why. It builds the foundation that builds the country, that builds the nation, that helps us to compete among the nations of the world in the 21st century. And this is one of those subjects, to study, practice, and teach. Next, my parents taught, don't miss anything. Don't miss the game. Don't miss the performance. Don't miss the show, the movie. Don't miss the words. We're all inspired by the words. Elton John says she lived her life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. You can't miss those lyrics. You can't miss the music. You can't miss the songs that nourish the soul. You can't describe how brief and fragile life is much better than that. George Harrison, one of the Beatles, sings, "If not for you, the winter would hold no spring. Couldn't hear a robin sing. I just wouldn't have a clue if not for you." Wow. You got to remember the words that reflect the experience. Barbra Streisand sings, "It used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. You don't sing me love songs, you don't say you need me, and you don't bring me flowers anymore." Illustrative of all of our experiences. Winston Churchill said, "The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it and ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is." You got to use that. Feast on someone else's comments. Because, see, you could stay up all night and not think of that. I'm asking you to do your research. I'm asking you, don't miss anything. Don't miss the play. When my father was 93, just before he died, if you would have called him at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, he wouldn't be home. He's at the rodeo. And he's watching the kids play softball. He's at church. He's watching the concert somewhere every night. My parents taught me that. Don't miss anything. Even the little small things, don't miss. The big things, don't miss. Don't miss, don't miss. It's part of living a good life. Here's why. Jot this phrase down. It'll serve you well forever. If you live well, you will earn well. If you live well, it'll show up in the texture of your voice. If you live well, it'll show up in your face. If you live well, it'll show up in the magnetism of your personality. If you live well. So don't miss the nourishment of all the things around you that could help you live a good life. Next is the inner circle. Take care of them, they'll take care of you. Inspire them, they will inspire you. Nothing more valuable than the inner circle. That's where the power to conquer the world comes from, the inner circle. If a father walks out of the house and he can still all day long feel his daughter's kiss on his face, he's a powerful man. Nourishment of the inner circle is so incredible. If a husband walks out of the house and all day long he feels the imprint of his wife's arms around his body, he's invincible. Who can touch him? One person caring for another, the old prophet said, is the greatest. There's many virtues and values, but the greatest is love, one person caring for another. Better to live in a tent with someone you love than to live in a mansion yourself. People caring for people. And especially that inner circle where the power is so magnificent that if you draw from it, if you nourish it, and then it nourishes you. Now, here's my last comment. Ask for God's help. We could all use a little help. But my whole seminar was what you can do. A man took a rock pile, turned it into a fabulous garden. Somebody came and saw it and said, "You know, you and the good Lord have this fabulous garden here." The gardener said, "I understand your point, but you should have seen it a few years ago when God had it all by himself." So we do play a part. So make this the last note now. We have a chance as human beings to participate in the miracle process. We have a chance as human beings to participate in the miracle process. And you can go do that every day as often as you wish. Changing somebody's life, rescuing somebody from oblivion, building an organization second to none so that your name will appear in many people's testimonial. And that's why I came today. So that by chance, I don't need the money. It's not why I'm here. I take the money, but I don't need the money. But here's why I'm here. By chance, perhaps, if I've come along at the right time, I don't know what time this is for you, but if I've come along at the right time, just maybe, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, you might say, Jim Rohn came by and gave us a little piece of information. That started me down the road. Here's what's happened to me. And my name might appear in your testimonial. Now, here's the drama as we finish. How many of you have my name in your notes? Here's the part of the drama then. I go with you. When we all leave here and the lights are out and the place is dark, I go with you because you've taken my notes and hopefully some of the spirit, some of the stuff I had besides just the notes. So I go with all of you. But here's the big drama. All of you go with me. See, that's so unbelievable. So as I leave here, I promise not to leave you behind. I will take you with me in my thoughts and in my heart. God bless. get serious. Life is serious. We call it life or death. Somebody asked me one time if I had a good description of life. I said, yes, I think I've got a good one. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Right? Death seems to want to move in prematurely. If you want to live a good, long, flourishing life, you got to push back. You can't just give in. You got to push back. That's what these products are for, to help you push back. And we're dealing with some serious matters here. So we can't just, tell the latest 10 jokes and just go home. We're not here to entertain. We're here to instruct. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. We're here to get the best we possibly can. Serious. Life is serious. The future is serious. One ancient novelist said, these are the best of times and these are the worst of times. And for some of those who came across this platform at the extravaganza, $1 million a year incomes, for them it's the best of times. But I want you to know that while they're getting the diamonds and the millions, there are a lot of people around the world, for them it is the worst of times. The best of times and the worst of times. That's called serious matter. How come such a difference from those who can reach such incredible heights and those who haven't yet found the answers for their life and their health and their future? We just have to ponder that and let that give us a note of seriousness, a note of seriousness. It's serious whether you win or lose. It's serious whether you succeed or fail. It's serious whether you've got a good future carved out for yourself or you do not have. These are serious matters. Matters of the heart are serious. Matters of income are serious. Matters of supporting your family, serious. That's why Herbalife, it's about the most serious company I've ever been around in my 33 years of executive lifetime. I've never met anybody more serious. We used to have in sharing the product story, right? Had the button lose weight now, ask me how. And somebody says, how? Our first words were what? Are you serious? Why? We got a serious matter here to discuss. We haven't come with the latest 10 stories. We've come with a serious matter. And I want you to take on that serious tone. You've got some serious products that answer a serious need out there in the marketplace. And I'm asking you to take it serious. Take your own future serious. What you can do for your family, take it serious. This is serious business. So that's the first thing I want to bring to you. To have the best year ever this year, help contribute to the 400 million, take your piece of the 400 million. I don't know how much of that you want. It's really not that much. For 400 of us, it's only $1 million. For 400 of us, it's only $1 million. For 800 of us, it's only $500,000. $500,000, that's almost getting to be ridiculous. For a lot of people in this room, $500,000, and I don't know what piece of that 400 million you want, but I'm asking you to seriously take on a piece of that 400 million so that you can say, I made my best and finest contribution to see that goal reached. Not just for the figure, but for all that the figure represents, for the healing it represents, for the restoration of broken lives that it represents. And people that are discouraged about their life and their chances, now encouraged on a new road. For all that that represents, 400 million. Take your share of the 400 million and let's get the job done. Take a piece of this and let's go for it. And then when we finish that one, we'll set another one. And when we finish that one, we'll set another one. And when they write the history books, they will say, those Herbalife distributors took on the responsibility, got out there, touched people's lives, and nobody's made a better contribution to the health of the country than the Herbalife distributors. Let that be our reputation. I've got a new seriousness going for me. You know, I could have quit and played a long time ago. When Mark and Larry called me, right? Hey, I'm semi-retired. I'm looking for the next exotic beach. And they said, no, you got to postpone all those plans. We got too big a job here. We got too important a task here, and nothing else you could do would touch more people's lives, render more value to the marketplace, give you greater satisfaction, chance to belong on an international championship team, and all the stuff that can happen here. No. We got some more things to do, Jim Rohn. Postpone it for a while. We'll have some fun along the way. We'll enjoy each other along the way, and we'll have some good times along the way. Last night was part of it, some good times along the way, but I'm telling you, they were right. It was too early for me to cash it in. It was too early. I needed this kind of incredible incentive to be a part of something so extraordinary, and I gladly said yes. And I'm going to do my part. I'm going to pick up the task here. The 90s is going to see a brand new Jim Rohn, willing to make the studies, willing to make the commitment, willing to do the learning, find better ways to choose the words, find better ways to reach inside, get heart and soul, mix it all together, and make an impact on people. When I come to your country, when I come to your city, when I come to your village, when I come to your community, I want to come with some new skills. I want to come with some new power. I want to come with the refinement of language and spirit and heart and soul and make a contribution, not just on this platform with the lights shining and the television cameras running. I want to do it because you deserve it. For the commitment that you're making out there in the marketplace, I want to back it up with the best skills I can possibly bring to help serve you in the marketplace and to help serve Herbalife. New commitment from me. Next, to make this your best year ever, have a piece of the 400 million. See what you can do. Touch the lives of as many people as you can possibly touch. Number one was get serious. Here's number two, get smart. That's what these journals are for. That's what pad and pencil's for. That's what taking notes is for. See if you can't increase your ability to comprehend ideas, information that can be life-transforming. Don't miss the opportunity to learn. Take a good key phrase home. Use it in your training. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be casual in learning. Develop a whole new intensity for the 90s that you're not going to miss the information. You're not going to miss the stories. You're not going to miss the details. Get smart. Here's a couple of parts to it. Number one, your own personal experience. Right? If you've had a bad week, just sit down and ponder that for a while. Study it. See if you can't pick up some ideas from a poor week and then make a better week. Okay? Learn from your own experiences. One way to learn to do it right is do it wrong. I mean, you know, that's one way to learn to do it right. Do it wrong. Now, the key is don't let it take too long. If you've done it wrong for a year, we suggest that's long enough. You don't need another year just to prove a point. No, 1 year's enough. Learn from your own experience, right? So the call didn't go well, all the stuff. Guess what they did when they finished that call? They made another call. What else could we do to make it better? How could we possibly improve? This is called the possibility for life change. Starts with education. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be lazy in picking up the ideas. Don't be lazy in learning from your own experience. That's why you've heard from some people that have shared their testimonial here and given you some of their ideas, ways, and means of taking this product to the marketplace, making it work for you. We've devoted most of our time for that, and well, we should. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of life change. Some people want to start with motivation, but you don't start with motivation. You can tell we don't spend that much time on motivation. Right? Some companies, right, by now they'd be standing on the chairs, waving the flag, singing the old gray mare or some silly thing. That's not Herbalife. We got a serious task to do. And we're here, enough motivation, certainly. But here's the best motivation we've got going. The proof of our success. When we bring our success stories to this platform, that's enough motivation. When we bring our dedication and let it show, we let the work of our hands show, that's the motivation we want. Right? Not just excitement. Just excitement alone won't do it. Somebody says, just motivate this guy, he'll be all right. The answer is no, probably not. If a guy's an idiot, you motivate him, now you got a motivated idiot. No. So education, get smart, don't miss the training class. You say, well, I've already been to one of those classes. I've already heard it. I got a good phrase for you to take home. That's no sign you got it. Just because you've listened to those millionaire tapes one time is no sign you've got it. I'm asking you to listen to them over and over and over. I'm asking you to dedicate yourself to a new level of learning in 1992. When I travel with Mark Hughes, he's got his book open. He's got a book open. He's reading. He's studying. Lives of successful people. Lives of despicable people. You know, study, learn, grow, change, develop. Never let it be said you didn't learn. Right? If you want to solve your problems, you got to learn. If you want to take advantage of an opportunity, you got to learn. We can't come here and just give you the marketing plan, give you the product, send you home. We got to stay for a while. Learn, stay for a while. Right? Put on those cassettes and stay for a while. Right? We asked you to come here for a couple of days and stay for a while. Do some learning. Take it back home. So, number 2, to have your best year ever, a good piece of that 400 million, make your dreams come true. Number 1 is get serious. Number 2, get smart. Develop your own personal philosophy here. Philosophy, major determining factor in how your life works out. Each person's philosophy is like the set of the sail. The same wind blows on us all. The difference in where we arrive at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year is not the wind that blows. And the wind is blowing around the world. The world is in solution. Things are a-changing. The walls have come down. All kinds of things are happening. In Russia today, the winds are blowing. But what's going to make the major difference? Each person's personal philosophy that sets a better sail, sets a better sail. So don't ask for a more favorable wind. That's like wishing something that's not going to occur. Don't ask for better seed and soil. All you got's what's available. Don't curse what you got. On this planet, all we got's the seed that's here, the soil that's here, the miracle of life that's here, the opportunity that's here, the seasons that are here. That's all we got. Wherever you've come from in your country, the economy you got, that's all you got. In America, our economy, that's all we got. The government, that's all we got. The marketplace, that's all we got. Whatever you do, don't criticize all you got. The key is to set a better sail and turn what you've got into the miracle of your future. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. And that's the reason for coming here, spending a couple of days of intense effort, taking notes, rolling up your sleeves, going to work, commit yourself to learning so that you can get smarter for the days ahead. Develop your philosophy. Herbalife's philosophy has carried it now, these 12 years, to extraordinary heights. Those that do the work get the pay. A philosophy that commits itself to having the finest no matter what it costs. That kind of philosophy. I'm asking you to develop your own personal philosophy. Get your business philosophy going. Get your financial plan going. Don't violate the conclusions of your own philosophy by not executing and taking action. But that's number 2, get smart. Here's number 3, get going. As smart as you might become after these 2 days, as many ideas as you take away from here, they're truly, as Larry mentioned, like seeds to be planted in the soil. You've got to get going. You've got to take action. The disciplines is the miracle process. And here's how to get the miracle of your future going as far as disciplines are concerned. Number 1, do what you can. You might go home and set a whole new pace for yourself, and we call it cleaning up neglect. Should walk around the block, could walk around the block for your good health. Don't walk around the block. See, you're on the wrong track. Should read, could read, don't read. On the wrong track. Should call, could call, don't call. On the wrong track. Could change, should change, don't change. You're on the wrong track. Letters you haven't written, conversations you haven't had with your family, somebody you should sit down with when you get back home, get that job done. Don't let neglect destroy your days, destroy your life, and destroy your future. Go back and do what you can. And if you'll do what you can, then life will give you some extraordinary things to do. We all pity the man, right? Wants to stride out of his house, go straighten out the corporation, has not yet straightened out his garage. You've got to take care of the small disciplines before life will give you a chance to handle the more complicated disciplines. How do you think Mark Hughes got here? Scattered now throughout 14, 15 countries, another 14, 15 coming up. I mean, how do you do this? You start first with the smallest of disciplines, and do not neglect them and do not disregard them as being trifling. Everything matters. Everything's important. Good phrase to take home. All disciplines affect each other. In fact, here's a good philosophical phrase. If you hadn't thought of it before, here it is. Everything affects everything else. It's so easy to be casual and say, well, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. I'm telling you, everything matters. Of course, some things matter more than others, but there isn't anything that doesn't matter. Then here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects all your other disciplines. If you'll get some new things going, make some calls you've never made before, step up your activity level, step up your labor level, develop the skills from these 2 days of training here, and you'll go home and work some miracles on your days and your life and your future and your income and your business, and a bigger portion of that 400 million will certainly be yours. Go for the disciplines, the smallest of disciplines, the least of disciplines. Like keeping your accounts in order, the smallest of disciplines. Did you ever hear this expression? I don't know where it all goes. Did you ever hear that? I don't know where it all goes. Wow. Oh, we'd love to have you run Herbalife. You don't know where it all goes. How long do you think we'd last here in Herbalife if that was your philosophy sitting at the top like Mark Hughes? Let me give you the story on Mark Hughes. Mark knows where everything goes. And he started back when he only had pennies. He started back when he only had dollars. He started back when he didn't have much. But here's the key. One of the greatest extraordinary phrases that's ever been written from antiquity says, if you'll be faithful, if you'll be disciplined when the amounts are small, we'll make you a ruler, give you a position of authority when the amounts are many. Somebody says, I've only got 2 or 3 distributors, I don't know where they are. Come on. If you've only got 2 or 3, you can know when they get up. You can know when they go to bed. You can know all the details. Take care of your disciplines when the amounts are small. And then life will see to it that you get some extraordinary numbers to work with, like you saw the stories displayed here. Do not disregard the smallest of disciplines. Let us not neglect. Do not neglect the smallest of disciplines. And build on that foundation, and you can have everything you could possibly want. Okay? Get going. Here's number 4. Get better. There isn't any of us that can't get better. So turn on this whole idea of personal development and personal growth. That was what my teacher shared with me that changed my life, starting a few steps from here at that convention. I'm telling you, for things to get better, you got to get better. Don't ask for it to change out there. Ask for you to change here. Don't ask for a more favorable wind. We call that naive. Don't ask for better seed, better soil. This is the only planet you got. Just ask that you can get wiser and stronger and better and be able to take care of your own responsibilities. Get better. Learn how to handle the seasons better. Let's go through them. Some stuff I did on satellite many, many years ago. Let me just review those notes for you on this getting better part. Learn how to handle the seasons of life. Number 1, learn how to handle the winters. We're all going to go through some winters. Herbalife's been through a few. Just the winters of the calendar in the last 12 years, how many winters? About 12. But it's not just the winters of the calendar. It's not just the winters of the seasons. There's all kinds of winters. The winter when you can't figure it out. The winter when it all goes wrong. The winter when you have all kinds of hecklers on a telephone call. Right? The winter when you get that first half dozen refunds. The winters of your life. Social winters. Political winters that we're going through around the world. Okay? Economic winters that a lot of people are experiencing these days. Personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long. It is simply called winter time. But here's what you've got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the winter. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. You say, well, what can I do about the upcoming winters of my life, the challenges that I know I'm going to face? Here's what you can do. You can get wiser and stronger and better. Just make a list of that trio of words. Wiser, stronger, and better. Go home smarter than you came. Go home with more ideas than you came with. Next, get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the inspiration muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger. There isn't anybody here that can't get stronger. Next time we see you, may not even recognize you. How strong you're going to be able to become in language, in style, in personality, the ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens. And the third one is get better. We can all get better. I've gotten better. First talk I gave, I stood up, my mind sat back down. I love to wait for the translation to finish, see if I can get some more reaction here. But here's the secret to my success. I stood up and did it again. I stood up and I did it again. And I did it again and I did it again all those many years ago. I did it when I was scared, and I did it when I didn't want to, and I did it when I was ill. And I did it when it didn't work well, and I did it when they didn't appreciate it, and I didn't a lot of times when I didn't know much what I was doing. I just did it anyway. And now all these years later, I'm asked to walk on this stage with the greatest introduction I've ever had, greatest response and welcome I've ever had, the greatest opportunity I've ever had to touch this many lives with a mixture of words and heart and soul. I got better. I got better day by day and week by week and month by month, and I'm asking you to do the same thing until you can develop a long arm and a long reach, until you can develop influence that won't quit. Touch people next year you couldn't touch this year. Touch people now you couldn't touch before. Conduct a meeting now you couldn't conduct before. Heart and soul now mixed in there that wasn't there, missing before. I'm asking all of you to get better in spite of the winters, in spite of the downturn, the money downturn, the social downturn, the personal downturn, whatever it is. Just get stronger. Get better. We've all got those personal winters. We know what those are like. Barbara Streisand sings, it used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. You don't sing me love songs. You don't say you need me. And you don't bring me flowers anymore. A winter song. But hey, we're acquainted with all those personal winters and all the rest of it. The key is not to wish for a better winter. The key is to wish for more strength, more wisdom, more courage, get better, get wiser, get stronger. Here's number 2. Learn to take advantage of the spring. Spring means opportunity. And we've got a fresh spring going here. It's called a spring like no other. A spring, an opportunity like no other for you. But here's the clue. Spring is not a guarantee of a harvest in the fall and the autumn harvest time. Here's what you must learn to do. Underline the 2 words if you're taking notes. Take advantage. Take advantage of the spring. Don't just be faked out by the spring because the nice weather has come and looks like everything is going to be a lot better. The winter's finally passed. The spring is here. I'm telling you, that's not going to do it for you. Just because the spring is here, it's not going to do it for you. You got to seize it with your own 2 hands and take advantage. Read the books. Study the tapes. Go back through your notes. Get ready to cash in on the spring. And now there's a sense of urgency here. Here's why. Spring doesn't last that long. To be able to say, I just got back, doesn't last that long. It's called the springtime of opportunity. Postpone a few things in the springtime. Get the job done. Set aside a few things in the springtime. Get the job done. Where I was raised, in Idaho farm country, what if you asked a farmer to go bowling in the spring? What would he probably say? They would say you're insane. You can go bowling in the winter when you can't plant the crop. You can't go bowling in the spring. You've only got a certain piece of time, and you got to get it done in that certain window of opportunity. And that's what we've got here, a window of opportunity. Let's take advantage of it. It's called take advantage of the spring. And there's also an urgency here. How many springs have you got in a lifetime? Not very many. Life is brief at the longest. The Beatles wrote, life is very short. And for John Lennon, it was extra short. For Michael Landon, it was extra short. But it is short. There's an urgency here. Don't waste your springs. Don't just let them pass, hoping the time will pass. Take advantage. Last year it was seize the moment. And I'm asking you now this season to seize the spring opportunity. You've got a new organization going, seize the spring. You've got a new distributor going, seize the spring. You've got a new life situation going, seize the spring. Take advantage of it. Don't let it pass without giving it the best of your two hands and your attention. Number 3, first, learn how to handle the winter. Second, take advantage of the spring. Number 3, in the summer, learn to nourish and protect. We've got some major challenges now come summertime. One is to nourish our values. Take care of them, feed them. Don't let them go hungry. Don't let them go wanting in nourishment and care. And then here's something else we've got to do in the summer. Defend ourselves against the enemies. Summertime is a unique time. It's a time of opportunity. It's also a time of challenge. But what else is new? It's what life is called. The last 6,500 years reads like this: opportunity mixed with difficulty. Opportunity mixed with challenge. We've got a chance to grow like never before, but I'm telling you, there's going to be many enemies that's going to try to prevent us. As soon as you plant the garden, the busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take it, and you've got to learn not only to nourish your values, you've got to learn to do battle with your enemies. Whatever threatens you, I'm asking you to threaten it back. Take care of your responsibility, but don't take anything off of anybody. Somebody wants to destroy your chances for a good future by their negative talk, negative thinking, putting it all down. I'm telling you, walk away if you have to. Walk away. Whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever threatens your opportunity, threaten it back. Now, some of our enemies are on the outside, but here's the most important thing to understand. Some of our enemies are on the inside. Let me give you a quick list. Indifference. You got to do battle with your own indifference. Boy, it's easy to coast, especially if you've accomplished something, extraordinary. Now, somebody says, well, I got to relax. Here's the key. Not too long. The weeds will take all you plant if you rest too long. Don't rest too long. Indecision. You got to make those decisions. The ones that don't turn out to be good gives you experience to make better decisions. Don't let much time go by without making some decisions. The ones that you can make quickly, make them quickly. The ones that take time, take your time. But get those decisions made. Don't let indecision be an enemy, rob you of the future, empty your bank account, leave you with zero in the purse. Don't let that happen. The next one is doubt. Sure, there's doubts on the outside. People doubt that America's going to make it. People doubt that Europe's going to make it. People doubt that Russia's going to make it, that Poland's going to make it, that Czechoslovakia's going to make it. They doubt the whole world is going to make it. But I'm asking you not to pick up all those doubts. I'm asking you to have some faith, have some courage, believe, drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them loose like a mad dog, drive you into a small corner. Don't doubt the future. Don't doubt the possibilities. Don't doubt the extraordinary gifts that your distributors bring to your organization. Don't doubt that. And here's the most important one of all. Don't doubt yourself. If I've got miracle working power to change my life, so do you. If I've got the ability to change, so do you. If I've got the ability to read, so do you. If I can discover, so can you. If I can grow, you can grow. If I can develop, you can develop. If I can get an invitation like I got 6 years ago, help take something around the world, so can you. If I can stand on this platform, Idaho farm boy raised in obscurity, so can you. If the millionaire team can do it, president's team can do it, walk off with the diamonds, the trophies, so can you. I'm asking you, don't sell yourself short. We haven't sold you short. That's why Mark, Larry, and Dr. Katzen and I have decided to invest a big share of our life these 4 days in being with all of you. If we didn't think you were worth it, we wouldn't have showed up. We don't need to conduct another meeting. We don't need to walk on another stage. We don't need to get up early like we get up. Don't need it. Except for the challenge and the opportunity to invest in this many people's lives who wouldn't get up early. To have a chance to work miracles and invest in this many people's lives and help turn the world upside down for better nutrition called Herbalife. Here's the next one, worry. I'm asking you to drive worry into a small corner. You got to worry some. All this negative stuff serves some purpose, but the key is for you to be the master, not the servant. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and your daughter's not home yet, best you worry. In New York City, if you step off the curb and one of those yellow taxis is coming, best you worry. But here's what I'm asking you to do. You be the master of worry. Drive it into a small corner. Don't let it loose. And I'm asking you to go home with some new faith and some new courage. I'm asking you, don't worry. Drive it into a small corner. We've all got concerns, and sometimes we all wonder. And sometimes there's a little crack of doubt. We worry a little, but I'm telling you, drive it into a small corner. Drive your worries into a small corner. I promise you, from this platform, the dedication of the executives that you've seen and the president's team members and the people that have walked off with 1 through 10, I'm telling you, we're all dedicated to help this Herbalife future that includes all of you be the most spectacular thing that's happened in the 90s. I promise you not to worry because you're in good hands. You're in good hands. And now what I want you to be able to say, if you give Mark Hughes a telephone call, or if you have a chance to talk to Mark Hughes in person, whatever village you've come from, whatever street you've come from, wherever you've come from, I'd like for you to be able to say sincerely and honestly, with all the dedication you possibly can, Mark Hughes, I want you to go to bed at night and sleep like a baby, because where I came from, when I go back and represent Herbalife in that community, I want to reassure you, Mark Hughes, Herbalife in that community is in good hands. I want some of you from Germany, get together, form a little coalition from Germany. After you've gotten out there and gotten your hands into it, and you've had a chance to work and labor for a while, send Mark Hughes a message and say, Mark Hughes, the distributors that have now joined forces in Germany, you can rest easy, Mark Hughes. In Germany, Herbalife is in good hands. And all of the rest of the countries, make that your dedication. Make it personally. Make it collectively as an organization. This incredible opportunity has been dropped in our lap. It's been given to us. We're going to take it to the marketplace, and we're going to take it to the marketplace with good hands, steady hands, growing hands, intelligent hands that can go touch people and get the job done. I'm asking you to commit to that. Herbalife is in good hands. Couple of more enemies of the mind you got to do battle with in the summer. One is pessimism, that tries to get you only to see the negative side. Of course, there's the negative side. Life is part negative. What else is new? If the glass is half empty, it is half empty. You say, well, I've been only taught to see that it's half full. Well, sure, it's half full. But it's also half empty. I mean, can't you handle that? I mean, you know, that's not too difficult. But here's what pessimism would try to get you to do. Believe that it's only half empty. And when pessimism comes to your mind, you've got to educate pessimism, because pessimism is stupid. Pessimism tries to get you to believe that it's only half empty. You've got to say, pessimism, you've never been to school. Too dumb and stupid to know. Of course it's half empty, but it's not only half empty. It's also half full. I'm asking you to be in charge. Be in charge of your own mind. Be in charge of your own destiny. Do battle with your enemy in the summertime. In the summertime, you got to learn to love like a mother. Hate like a father. Give life like a mother. Nourish. Take life like a father. Father says to whatever threatens his family, take 2 or 3 more steps toward this family and threaten them, you'll cease to exist. I'm father. I kill. To battle with your enemies. Now, it's also possible to love like a father and hate like a mother. I'm not saying that isn't possible. Nothing more dangerous than an angry mother. I saw an article in a magazine a little bit ago up in Canada. It showed a man with some claw marks on his back, had his shirt off, big teeth marks in his neck. This man was out in the woods, had his flash camera, saw a mama bear with a little cub, thought, though, this is cute, took a flash picture. Mama bear takes unkindly to this flash picture. Promptly chases the man, catches him, almost kills him before somebody rescued him. So, beware, mama bear. Okay? Love like a father, hate like a mother, give life like a mother, take life like a father, however you want to arrange it, just so you nourish your values, nourish your family, nourish what's valuable for you, nourish your organization, nourish your distributors, nourish your customers, take care of your responsibilities, feed, nourish. But then I'm also asking you to do battle with your enemies. Take sword to your enemies. Whatever's going to destroy those values, take sword to it. If it's worry, take sword to it. If it's threat, threaten back. You got to be like your bloodstream. Good illustration. Red corpuscles to nourish, like a mother. White corpuscles to fight and kill, like a father. You got to do some negative thinking. Can't just think positive. Thank God for white corpuscles that think negative all day. White corpuscles say, just show me some infection, I'll kill it. Whatever threatens this body and its future gets threatened. Whatever's got to kill this body gets killed. I'm asking you, take sword to your enemies, whether they're on the outside or whether they're on the inside. Protect your family, protect your future, protect your values. Love, nourish, but also do battle with whatever's out there to do battle with you. Take some courage from some of those that have been through the battle. They've given you their stories on this stage. They've been through it. They know what it's all about. Take some courage from that. And in the summer, do battle and nourish. Now here's the last one. In the harvest time, number 4. Take your harvest and all that comes your way with full responsibility. Don't complain. That 4th season, complaining, I'm telling you, could ruin all of your chances. Complaining sometimes starts as an infection. If you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. You battle with it. In the harvest time, reap your harvest without complaint. It's your crop, you sowed it. You either made the calls or didn't make the calls. You wrote the letters, you didn't write the letters. You were steady or you weren't steady. You did it or you didn't do it. You put together a good day or you didn't put together a good day. Take responsibility when the harvest time finally comes and say, hey, it's my crop. Got to take responsibility for it. I do not complain. And then here's the next one. Do not apologize if you've done well. We offer no apologies when these winners that walked across this stage here go back to their communities. We offer no apology for making the kind of money they make. Because of the lives they touched and the people that they helped. No telling what would have happened if these people had not touched many people's lives, who touched many people's lives. When you go back to the community, all of you that were winners here, I ask you to go back with no apology. Because you've done your job well and you've given good hands to everybody you've touched. You deserve all the money. Next, under getting better, I just want to make this list of 4 words. 4 words. First, we talked about getting serious. Second, get smart. Third, get going. Fourth is get better. And here's 4 good words to take home. 1 is absorb. Develop the skill and the ability to absorb everything. Be like a sponge like you've been today. This has been a good, serious group. I appreciate that. You've worked as hard as we have up here on this platform. You've rolled up your sleeve and you've gone to work and you've taken notes, and I appreciate that. Absorb everything you can. Absorb the sights and the sounds and the color. Guess what you're going to want to do? Go back home and invest this experience into other people's lives. And you can't invest it if you haven't got it. So I'm asking you to appreciate the color. I'm asking you to appreciate the auditorium. I'm asking you to appreciate what's going on here. I'm asking you to appreciate each other. Soak this all up. Soak it all up. It's called absorb, absorb, absorb. Then when you get back home, you can give out, give out, give out. And you'll have an extraordinary effect on the people that you reach out and touch. Here's the next one. Develop the ability to respond. That's what got me almost 6 years ago. Mark and Larry made that call. I responded. It touched me. The vision they gave me, the story they gave me, the pictures they painted, and the numbers they gave me, what we could do together, the team we could build, dominate the industry, walk head and shoulders above anything else that's out there, have an extraordinary adventure that's only been given to a few, a chance to walk the summit, got me, touched me. Now I'm asking you, however, not only to be touched with the summit numbers, the 400 million, I'm asking you to be touched with the smallest of people's challenges. Don't just be touched with the challenge. I'm asking you to be touched with the problem. Let people's problems get to you. Let people's problems touch your heart this year like never before. Be touched. Let life touch you. Don't let it kill you, but let it touch you. The problems that are out there, people struggling with their economy, struggling with their health, struggling with their future, I'm asking you to let that get around your heart. Let it do something to you. Don't go untouched. Don't go unmoved. When you walk out of here, open yourself up. Don't build up the walls. The same wall that keeps out disappointment keeps out happiness and opportunity. Take the walls down. Let yourself be touched by what's going on out there. Let sad things make you sad, as well as happy things make you happy. Let your heart get touched, and you'll have good hands then to take this product to the marketplace. Here's number 3. Develop the ability to reflect. Long after this session is over, I'm asking you to go back over it one more time. I'm asking you at the end of the day, go back over your day. I'm asking you at the end of the week, go back over your week. Make that week more valuable. At the end of the month, go back over your month. At the end of a conversation, go back over the conversation. How did it go and what did you do? Learn by reflecting. I call it run the tapes again of your own experiences. And you say, why do that? Here's why. To develop the extraordinary ability to gather up the past and invest it in the future. What a next year you could have if you pay more attention this year, soak it up, gather it up, and reflect at certain times what's going on and what's happening. And this year will take a more powerful place in your experience. And then when you get ready to deliver in 1993, people will not believe the words you've chosen. They will not believe the heart and soul that you've mixed with words. They won't believe the power you've got. A few simple things here under getting better. Then here's the last one, and that's to share. We've got this extraordinary opportunity now. Let us not keep it. Let us share it. Let us reach out with a long reach, a strong reach, an unprecedented reach. Let us reach out and touch people not just with our opportunity. Let's touch people with our lives. Let's touch people with our experiences. Let's touch people with our heart and soul. Let's don't just touch people with a marketing plan and a distributor kit. Let's touch people with their health, yes. With an opportunity, yes. But here's a commitment I'd like to have you make to me. Let's help people with their lives, not just their health. Let's help people with their lives, not just their income. Let it be said, if they were around us 1 week, 1 month, or a lifetime, that when they got around us, not only did we talk about money, not only did we talk about product, we talked about life. We talked about getting better. We talked about becoming all that you can become. We talked about picking up a challenge. We talked about not settling for less than you can possibly be. Let's do that. Let's develop those abilities. Now here's my last 2 parts to make this your best year ever. Get excited. And excitement is not just, excitement. Excitement that runs deep is the excitement that really lasts for a lifetime. Not surface excitement. There's been a lot of noise here, but what I really appreciate and feel is that this room is full of more than noise. It's full of more than sound. I'll tell you what's really going to serve you well, and that's the excitement you feel inside that isn't even probably expressed on the outside, the excitement that runs deep, the excitement that stirs commitment, the excitement that stirs courage. Give me the chance, and I will get the job done. That kind of excitement. Develop that kind of attitude. Get excited about your own skills. Get excited about your own abilities. You can put it into words. If I can start with nothing and finally stand on this platform, deliver best words I can choose, words are clumsy at best when you try to express what's going on in your heart, your head. But I've done my best. But I'm telling you, if I can find the words, you can find the words. And here's a key here. Communicate. Don't leave it unsaid. If somebody's got some congratulations coming, don't fail to congratulate them. If a distributor has got a word of praise coming, don't fail to give it. Don't fail to say it. Don't fail to say it. Find the best words you can. Struggle with the best words you can. Borrow some words if you have to. I borrow all kinds of words. Winston Churchill one time said, truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, and ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. See, I love to borrow that. I mean, that's better said than I could say it. See, that's well said. You could stay up all night and not think of that. I mean, that's well said. I'm asking you to borrow the words that have come from this platform, borrow the words that have come from the top 10, borrow the words that have come from the distributors who have shared so eloquently with you, borrow their words, borrow their notes. But then I'm asking you to start choosing the best words you can. We want you to get good at these skills of communicating, skills of touching people's lives with words, touching their heart with words, helping them to see something they've never been able to see before by your words. Choose the best words you can. Don't fail with an opportunity to challenge yourself to choose good words. Search for the words. Struggle for the words. But don't let somebody within the scope of your influence go without your words. Words work miracles. Words can help people to see something they've never seen before. There's a lot of people you haven't got to yet. They can't see how they can possibly be healthy. And if you'll come along with your good words, you can turn on all the lights for them. They can't see how they can possibly be successful. And if you'll come along with your testimonial, that's why Herbalife is built on testimonials. Words that work miracles. Help people to see. And when you come along and tell your story, People are going to say, before you got here, I was blind. And now that you've talked to me, I can see. I can see the possibilities. I can see the opportunity. I can see that if I take a hold of this thing, I can change my life. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. I'm asking you, don't miss the chance to work miracles with your words. Get excited about your possibility to work miracles with words.
Wayne Barnes. I first heard of Jim Rohn about 10 years ago. I heard him speak in Phoenix, and it majorly changed my life. I started taking some notes, and as he spoke, I took more and more meticulous notes. I tape recorded what he had to say, found out where he was going to be going next. He was going to Albuquerque. I followed him around to a number of cities, and I kept those tape recordings and notes, and I applied everything he said. I read the books he said. I changed my mannerisms to fit some of the suggestions he had, and a few years later, Jim Rohn came through Phoenix, and I walked up to him and I said, you don't remember me, but I'm Wayne Barnes, and I just made over $1 million. You followed some of your principles, and I just want to thank you. And we went and had dinner, and later we became friends, and we've had an interesting life. We've went sailing together on our boats, and we've shared a lot of our experiences, and I really enjoy the friendship we've created. The suggestions and the things that he's given you today, he gives at quite premium prices to people all the way around the world. And I hope that you take good notes. I think that you'll find it a major contribution to your life, just like it was to mine. And so with this, Jim Rohn.
Thank you. Thanks, Wayne. It's nice to have friends say such good things about you. I just finished a lecture a couple of hours ago for Sony Corporation. And some of the big wheels were there from Japan, along with about 160 other sales and management and administration people. So that was kind of exciting. Farm boy from Idaho, lecturing to Sony Corporation. It's got to be one heck of a story. For you that haven't heard my story, I grew up in Idaho and lived a fairly normal, average American life. Got married at about age 22. And at age 25, I'm taking a look at my life, and I wasn't very happy. I was behind on my bills and behind on my promises and behind on my personal development. And I had a lot of things to be concerned about. With a paycheck on Friday of $57, it didn't look like I was going to be a smashing success. And I had already figured they weren't going to write any books about me, unless books called What Not to Do, because I had done some things wrong and backwards and sort of drifted off course. But then, a unique thing happened to me. I met a very wealthy, remarkable man by the name of Mr. Schoaf. And a friend of mine worked for him and kept saying, you got to meet this man. And I had a chance to meet him. And sure enough, that meeting was a significant milestone in my life. A few months later, this remarkable, wealthy, unique man hired me. And I went to work for him, spent 5 years before he died. And I accumulated from him during that 5 years ideas that changed my income, changed my personality, changed my bank account, changed my fortune-making potential. So I will always be grateful for meeting somebody who shared ideas. Then I promised him before he died that to the best of my ability, I would share the ideas he shared with me. I would pass them along. And I didn't know it was going to mean coming to Arizona State and lecturing, because I was going to pass them along to other people like he did with me in the course of business, right? Sitting at a breakfast table, a conference table, sharing the ideas with my business colleagues. But then about 19 years ago, I got the idea that perhaps I should share these ideas with the public. And I thought maybe they'd like to hear the things that helped me to make my fortune. So I put together some notes, didn't do too well on that first one. I stood up and my mind sat back down. But at least I tried. I'm comfortable in the boardroom, a little more nervous on the platform. But I thought at least I've got to try. Maybe people would appreciate knowing some of the things that really made major changes in my life. So from that small attempt, starting almost 20 years ago, I've been devoting part of my business time to lecturing. And about 14 years ago, it became a business. So now I get to travel to lots of countries, lots of cities, and I get to lecture and share the ideas that I think can make a major difference in how your life works out. And it's great to be invited back to Arizona State, back to the same room where we were, about 30 days ago. It says something to be invited back. Maybe it doesn't say everything, but it says something. Maybe it says, let's give him one more chance, see if he can pull it out this time. But anyway, I'm pleased to be back, and I feel comfortable, and some of you I recognize have been to a couple of my lectures since I was here last. I've got some more coming up. Look forward to seeing you. But I'd like to share with you today skills for success in the marketplace. The marketplace is a demanding place. There's plenty of opportunity, but you've got to get ready for it and prepared for it. That's part of your stay at Arizona State, is getting ready. Big chunks of our life are designed for getting ready and getting prepared. We've got to spend a portion of this year getting ready for next year. And we've got to spend a portion of the 80s getting ready for the 90s. Hopefully the reason why we're here, looking well, doing fairly well, is because we spent a portion of the 70s getting ready for the 80s. So a big share of life is getting ready, getting prepared. And part of it is the development of skills. And I've got a good key phrase for you here to start with in skills that make for success in the marketplace. First, it starts with personal development, self-improvement, making measurable progress. Personal development is not an easy matter. It's a push. It's a struggle. It's a challenge. But that's what life is all about, the challenge. There wouldn't be any winning without a challenge. If I took a football and walked across the goal line out at the stadium today, I'm sure none of you would call it a touchdown. We don't call it a touchdown until you face the 260-pounders across the line. And then if you can make it through, score what we call a touchdown, now we call you winner. Now we call you accomplished. But that's what life is all about. It's the struggle and the challenge to develop ourselves and our skills to see what we can create in the way of value in the marketplace. And that's what life is all about, creating skills and value, and take those skills and value to the marketplace and see what it will return for you. Now it also has social part, spiritual part, as well as the physical part. We're going to talk about some of those parts. Personal development is not an easy matter. New habits don't come easy, but they can be developed. Sometimes when you develop a lot of momentum in one direction, it's not that easy to change, but it is possible to change. It isn't easy, but it's possible. Somebody once said success is 10% inspiration, 90% perspiration. You've just got to read the books, learn the skills, put yourself through the paces, do the mental push-ups, and get yourself ready. Inspiration is fine, but inspiration must lead to discipline. It's one thing to be motivated, but it's another thing to be motivated sufficiently to take the classes, do the reading, do the repetition, go through it over and over until it becomes part of you. And those are challenges. They're not easy, but they're challenges that if you win and develop and grow, that's what determines your place, your return, your equity, the worth you get from the marketplace. I've divided personal development into three parts. Let me give you those. First is spiritual. And I know when you talk spiritual, you can get an argument most anywhere. But I have a simple belief that says humans are not just animals. Some people believe we're just an extension and an advanced form of the animal species. But humans are a bit unique. Spiritual qualities, unique. That unique part of us that makes us different from all other creation. And that's a good study, and I'm an amateur on that side of it, so I can't give you a lot of advice there, but I would be a student of the spiritual side of your nature. And whatever you have to read and assimilate to develop in that area, I would strongly suggest you do so. Here's the other two parts, physical and mental. And I've got a good phrase for you to make note of. The mind and the body work together. So we've got to give some attention to both development of mind, and body. On the physical side, there's a unique Bible phrase that says, treat your body like a temple. It's not a bad word. A temple, something you would take extremely good care of. Treat your body like a temple, not a woodshed, right? A temple. Take good care of it. The only house we have to live in currently, right, is the physical body we have. And that's part of success in the marketplace, is physical well-being, feeling good about yourself physically, so that you stride into the marketplace with a sense of self-worth and self-confidence, having taken care of that end of it. It covers several parts. Good nutrition. Shof got me hooked on good nutrition. My parents, my father's 82, my mother's 75, you'd probably call them health nuts. Right? They really pay strict attention, but the payoff has been so incredible. My father's 82, he's got 20 more years of goals. And my parents are both still working extremely hard, all kinds of projects they're working on, making money. They got tax problems this year, right? That's pretty good at 82, right? Tax problems. I like that. So physically, you can do extremely well if you just pay some attention. Part of it's good nutrition. Read all the books, make up your own mind, right? There's a lot of weird conflicts in the nutritional aspects, but you just got to read and decide for yourself what's a good plan for you, good health plan. They got some weird stuff in California where I'm from, but you can sort through all the weird stuff. Unless you're weird, you just do the weird stuff, right? There's all kinds of stuff to consider in taking care of yourself physically. The other, right, good exercise program, right, taking care of yourself physically. The other is physical appearance. To do well in the marketplace, that's one skill, to be skillful enough to take care of your appearance in the marketplace. It has a lot to do with your acceptance on the job, performing, company, corporation, community. A big share of it is how you appear to other people. I've got a good Bible phrase for you. It says, God looks on the inside, people look on the outside. That's not a bad suggestion. Meaning, take care of the inside for God, take care of the outside for people. You say, well, people shouldn't judge you by your appearance. Well, let me give you a point. They do. Right? Don't base your life on shoulds and shouldn'ts. Only base your life on realities. Now, sure, when people get to know you, they'll judge you by more than what they see, but at first, they're going to take a look. Okay, so physical appearance is part of the physical side of the personal development to take care of. Now, I got another good phrase for you that I think is a good balance. It says, be conscious of self, but not self-conscious. There's a certain point we need to be conscious of ourselves, to a point, to take care of it, but then let it go. Some people worry about their appearance all day, and it detracts rather than adds. So it's called take care of it, let it go. Do the best you can, let that get the job done. Okay, conscious of ourselves, but not to the point of being self-conscious. Now, here's the third part to personal development, the mind. Mind stretch, mind exercise. This is part of your stay here, Arizona State. Stretch your mind, thinking habits, developing good study habits, developing ways and means and methods of pursuing ideas, coming up with the logic of information, trying to find ways to apply it to human behavior, the marketplace, carve out your spot. All of that takes mind stretch and mind exercise. Part of it is stretching yourself in reading habits. You can't live on mental candy, so you got to have the full range of mental food in order to grow. We call that mind stretch. Part of your stay here is to tackle things that other people have found a little too difficult, but you've decided to see it through and see if you can't master it. That's part of your education here. That's part of what gives you an extraordinary edge in the marketplace. Your willingness to tackle subjects that are difficult that most people have decided to let slide. Right? Some kids your age, right, have decided just to get a job and let the rest of the education slide. But you've tackled some rather heavyweight subjects, right? This being one. How can you master part of the high skills, the extraordinary skills that make you an unusual performer in the marketplace? It takes mind stretch. Some people skip poetry and literature, the Bible, history, and a lot of things that seem a little difficult to attack. But if you always back away from something that seems a little difficult at first, you leave yourself weak and you leave yourself unprepared in the marketplace. So don't be afraid to tackle the heavyweight stuff. It may be a lot easier than you think once you get into it and learn skill after skill. Another part of mind stretch is learn the other side of the argument. And whether you're debating spiritual, political, physical, behavior, whatever it is, don't be afraid of the other side of the argument. In our last class, I think we talked about communism teaches capital belongs in the hands of the state. We teach capital belongs in the hands of the people. And that's a great debate, whether capital belongs in the hands of the state or the people. Now, some people say, oh, don't tell us what communism teaches. Well, if you're going to be a good debater, you got to know the other side of the argument. So that's what I'm asking you to do. Don't be afraid of the other side of the argument. Okay? If you're strong mentally, you can handle it. Okay? And you got to give people points, right, for their side of the argument. I was in Canada one time, listened to a speech, extreme liberal position, rather than the conservative, rugged individualism, right? But the guy had a good point. He said, "Every man for himself," said the elephant as he danced among the chickens. I thought, pretty good point. I got to give him one for that. So give credit to somebody that's got a good point, even though you don't agree with their argument. You must agree that they came up with a good point. So that's part of mind stretch, studying the other side of the argument. Now, part of all of this is developing what I call a personal development library. Mr. Schoaf got me started back when I was 25, and since I'd missed most of my college education, here's what he said to me. I pass it along to you. He said, be self-educated. In fact, education doesn't cease when you leave college, leave the university. Education is a lifetime process. We keep putting ourselves through the paces to learn. That's how you get into the higher numbers income. That's how you get into the higher brackets enterprise. That's how you become a more useful, productive, valuable citizen, making a contribution to family, community, country, enterprise. Is to work hard on developing these skills and be self-educated. Mr. Schoaf said to me, standard education gets you standard results. And he said, if I were you, I would check those numbers and see if that's what you want to settle for. But he said to me, why not go beyond the standard and the average and the acceptable and become the advantaged, the extraordinary, the extra capable? And I picked up on that. Because I had decided back at age 18, 19, just to get a job and work hard, do the best I could. And Schoaf said, there's a lot more to life than that. Why don't you master some extraordinary skills? Why don't you move up to the higher performance and see if you wouldn't find the taste better in the results you get from that exercise? I did that. Now, your personal development library needs to be a whole mix. It can't just be a single piece of it. Some people these days are just into self-improvement, self-help, inspirational things, but since you can't live on mental candy, you need more than that. Our library needs to be balanced like the pantry in your kitchen. You can't be strong just on the easy stuff. You got to tackle the full range. History. If you haven't got this book, I recommend it. Lessons of History by Durant. The Durants wrote, I think, 11 volumes on civilization. Lessons of History by Durant. It's only 100 pages. You can read it in one evening. But once you read it, I think you'll read it over and over and over. It is such a classic, and it's so well done. You'll appreciate the language, the style, the flow, as well as the concepts and the ideas. It's a capsule view of history in 100 pages. I mean, it's an extraordinary, small but very powerful book. Lessons of History. We should all be better students of history. Our own history, our own roots, our own country, our own state, our own community, right? Our own family history. And then, of course, we should study world history. It's major. Next is biographies, autobiographies, studying people who have done unique things, both admirable and despicable. We need to be students of both. We need a book on Gandhi and a book on Hitler. I've got a unique book in my library, probably isn't available anymore, called The First Billionaire, Story of Henry Ford. There's a lot of billionaires now, but Henry was number one, back when $1 billion was a lot of money. The first billionaire. Fascinating story. We take great delight, right, in reading stories of unique people who overcame all kinds of odds, started small and developed into something unique, admirable. Novels. Sometimes novels are great ways of sharing dialogue and ideas and philosophy woven into the story. Sometimes the sweep of the story carries us along, but sure enough, little by little, we're getting the dialogue. Ayn Rand had a unique way, right, of building this towering novel, but weaving her philosophy all the way through the stories. The dialogue, the conversations, the communication. One of the best in dialogue movies is called Lion in Winter. Peter O'Toole, Katharine Hepburn. It's a fascinating story in a movie, but the dialogue, the sweep, the questions, the give and take, the exchange is so incredible. The use of language to paint pictures and ideas. It's a classic. It's a classic. Then we need the full range of culture, the dance, the arts, literature. By the way, there's another good book. Let me give you the title. It's called How to Read a Book. Nice simple title. How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. Mortimer Adler is the chief editor of the new Encyclopedia Britannica. He's 85 years old, still going strong, and still writing books. He was interviewed on one of his books last year called The 6 Great Ideas. Mortimer Adler, unique philosopher. He's also got a brand new book out. How to Speak, How to Listen. If you walk into the bookstore, you'll probably see 4 or 5 books written by Mortimer Adler. He conducts a workshop still, age 85, up in Aspen. He's incredible. But he wrote this book, How to Read a Book. Now, from the book, How to Read a Book, he's got some good points in there on how to master a book, how to take the good stuff that's in the book and make it a part of your own consciousness. Excellent. But here's what else is in there. A list of the great books. And I'm sure you've come across a variety of lists, but this is a pretty good one. The best books ever written according to Mortimer Adler. Not a bad guideline to follow. I've used it, in part at least, in building my own library. How to read a book. Then we need books on geography and language. We also need to study a bit of law. Some of you may be pursuing that direction, I don't know. No matter what you're going to do in life, we all need a bit of a fundamentals on law, contracts, what to sign, what not to sign. Almost everything now has legal implications, right? Everything now is a bit complicated. I remember one time a company wanted to borrow some money from a bank. The bank said, yes, we will loan this company the money if Mr. Rohn will sign personally. And I knew these people. I wanted to play hero, and I knew they could pay the money back. So I said, yes, I will sign. So I signed for the note, $250,000. And the company borrows the money. About 10 months later, they pay it all back. I'm a hero. Well, about a year later, this same company gets in financial trouble. They go back to the bank and borrow this $250,000 again. But I'm not on this one, right? And I say to myself, I'm glad I'm not on that loan. I wouldn't sign it, not for $1 million. But then I get a letter about a year later when the company goes bankrupt and cannot meet their obligation to the bank. The bank writes me this letter and says, Dear Mr. Rohn, since we have here your guarantee, and since the company cannot meet its obligation, would you send us your personal check for $250,000? I thought, there must be some mistake. I was on that first loan, right? But they paid it back. I wouldn't have signed the second one, not in a million years. But guess what I didn't know I had signed originally? A continuing guarantee. I didn't know. So, I'm asking you now, learn what to sign. Take my little bit of lesson there that was extremely costly. I now read everything more carefully. I one time added up what the word continuing cost me. And believe me, it's expensive. So we all need some understanding. Personal development library. Okay, there's a lot of other things we could mention, but I've got some more of these skills to cover, so we can't take too much time. Next. In personal development, I've developed 5 steps to success. Or 4. Let me give you 4. 4 steps to success. In the quest for personal development, here's part of the major subjects to study. 4 steps to success. Here's the first one. Good ideas. Ideas are the life seeds of enterprise, and the better life comes first of all by the search for good ideas. Never cease your quest for knowledge. Finding ideas can be life-changing. Business ideas, social ideas, personal ideas. Somebody once said, nothing is so powerful as an idea whose time has come. Timely ideas, political ideas, family ideas, ideas for health, skill, uniqueness. So be a searcher of good ideas, and then do what I do. I don't have my journal here handy, but keep a journal, keep a log of good ideas. We call this for the serious students. I used to take notes on pieces of paper and found out I couldn't go through them, couldn't catalog them, and I missed a lot of good stuff. So I learned to keep good ideas in a journal. And I've been keeping journals now all these years. It's an extension of your learning library. In fact, there are 3 treasures to leave behind. Let me give you this, 3 treasures to leave behind. One is your pictures. Take lots of pictures. Picture taking is one of the phenomenons of the 20th century. And it's easy to take phenomenons for granted. Right? We can record the event now in a fraction of a second. Did you ever look back 2 or 3 generations, just a handful of pictures? Boy, if they'd have had the technology of today, we could have had such a better history by all the pictures. So take lots of pictures. Number 2 in the success ladder. Be a student of good plans. Plans are important because they take ideas to the marketplace. Plans give birth to ideas. Plans well executed bring ideas into enterprise, bring ideas into the better life. Ideas without plans forever hang like an artist's rendering on the wall. They never become reality. They never become substance. They're only dreams that are born dead without activity. So I'm asking you, learn good plans, good disciplined activity plans. Riches do not come by crossing your fingers, walking through the day hoping. Riches and wealth come from well-laid plans. In my last session with you, we learned if a child starts between the ages of 12 and 15 with a good plan and a normal average income, by age 40 they should be wealthy. At 45, the latest, with a good wealth plan and average income between ages 12 to 15 and 45 is enough time to become wealthy. Now, if you're not wealthy by age 45, it simply means you didn't have a good plan. Opportunity without good plans misses all the worth and the wealth you could have. So be a student of good plans. Here's the next part to the success formula, the 4 steps. The passing of time. All of us have to learn to handle time. It's one of the challenges of life, how to handle the passing of time. Here's sometimes something a little difficult to handle, waiting from spring till fall. That's not an easy stretch, especially if you have heavyweight creditors. You've planted in the spring, and now the creditors are on you in the summer. We have a tendency to walk out into the field and say, grow, crop, grow. They're on me. But we have to learn to wait. You know, part of it is patience. And Americans probably have to learn patience more than any other people on earth in our push-button society, right? But it takes patience, the passing of time. The fourth step in the success ladder is the solving of problems. It's a simple way to put success. Success is simply solving problems. Now, there's all kinds of problems. Business problems, family problems, personal problems, financial problems, emotional problems, right? We've all got problems. Everybody's got a list of problems. The rich merely ask for a longer list. Okay. Problem solving is where enterprise comes from. This is how you build worth and wealth. Solving the problems. I met Neil Armstrong one time, first man on the moon. I met him in Chicago. He's got a unique talk, his experiences being the first man on the moon. And Neil Armstrong put it fairly simply. He said, going to the moon and back was simply a matter of solving problems. I thought, what a neat, simple way to put it. Problem 1, how to get there. Problem 2, how to get back. That's simple, right? And he said, make sure you don't leave till you've solved both problems. Well put. Now, sure, some things are complicated, but if you take it piece at a time and solve the problems, put it back together, you can't believe the enterprise you can build, the life you can build, the skills you can build. Take it piece at a time, master it, put it back together, solve it. Now, let me give you another tip on solving problems. This was helpful for me. Learn to solve them on paper. I learned this some time ago. You've got to commit some of your thoughts to paper. If you just deal out of your head all the time, it's easy to make too many errors, right? You wouldn't build a house out of your head. You take what's in your head, put it on paper, work it out, and then you work from the document, work from the paper. And sometimes problem solving is the same kind of challenge. First of all, to put it on paper. Take a piece of paper, divide it in half, put the problem over here. And you just spend a little time outlining the problem. Instead of just thinking about it, put your thoughts on paper. The executives I work with around the world who do extremely well, most of them use this kind of strategy, putting a problem on paper. It helps you to focus. It helps you to zero in. Now, when you state the problem, to the best of your ability, you just add one question: is that all of it? You say, well, we're not to dwell on problems. No, we're not to dwell on them or live in them, but at least you've got to state them, because you can't solve them till you clearly define them. Okay? Now, let me give you part of the answer to solving problems. The solutions. Answers to solving problems fall into 3 simple questions, and let me give you those questions. And I think for problem solving, it's important to go through these questions 1, 2, 3. Okay? Here's the first one. What could I do to solve the problem? What could I do? And then you start developing what we call working papers. And I know all of you in university, right, are familiar with working papers. Working papers simply are doing your best, right? You say, well, here's number 1, that's an answer, potential answer. Number 2, that's a possibility. Number 3, that's a possibility. You just start laying out possible solutions. Then we teach, go back and analyze these solutions. Number 3, you've already come to the conclusion, is it would take too long. Okay. Number 2, too big a question mark. Number 1, this is probably it. My first inclination was right. Study that a little more and see if that's it. Okay? Develop what we call working papers. So the first step to solving a problem is write it down. Number 2, develop working papers on possible solutions of what you could do. Now, if that doesn't do it, here's the second question to ask. What could I read? Sure enough, there may be a book. There may be a text. There may be a cassette. There may be a video. There may be some form outline on your particular problem. Okay? If you went to the library, you might find a whole section, right, on your problem. You say, gosh, there's 50 books here. There's bound to be some answers. So now you start going through the books, okay? Book 1, book 2, book 3. Okay, and start developing your reaction to what you're reading. right? Number one, you say, this guy's crazy, right? Because you're going to come up with some crazy stuff, weird stuff, right? But you just go through all these books, okay? Developing your own analysis with these books of the stuff you've read, okay? That's the second question, what could I read? Here's the third question in solving a problem. Who could I ask? Now, here's the key. Don't hesitate to ask. But let me give you the next clue. Don't ask first. If you always just ask, usually you don't develop the skills in solving problems. Let me tell you what's more valuable than the solution to a problem. Answer, the skills of solving problems. The skill is more valuable than the answer. The answer to a problem we call temporary. Skills in solving problems we call permanent. So it's not just answers we need, it's skills we need. Concentrate on these 5 abilities. I call these the 5 abilities that help you skillfully attack the marketplace to do well. Here's the first ability. Develop the ability to absorb. The ability to absorb. The ability to soak in, take in, be like a sponge. Sitting in class, sometimes it's easy to daydream. It's easy to be preoccupied. It's easy to be somewhere else. I read a good article once, though, in Reader's Digest. The title was, Wherever You Are, Be There. I thought that was excellent. Be there. Concentration, right? The sports stars will tell you, all you need is just a slight miss of concentration. They put one by your feet, and there goes the championship. Just a slight slip of concentration. Now, it's also important in learning extra skills to really pay attention, absorb, take in. I have a wealthy friend of mine. I swear it's more exciting to have him go to Acapulco and come back and tell you about it than it is to go yourself. I mean, it's unbelievable. Let me tell you why. When he's there, he doesn't miss anything. He soaks it all up. His mind is like a movie projector that takes it all in, the sights and the sounds and the smell and the color and the people and what's going on. He sees it all. Then he also has the gift of expression. When he comes back, he can tell you about it, word for word, detail, detail. When he talks, you can feel the water lapping on your feet. Right? You can smell the aroma of the food. You can see the sights and the sounds and the color and the people. I mean, he's got these gifts, the gift to take it in and then the gift to share it. And those are extremely excellent skills to work on. And that first one is absorb. Let me give you a good clue. Most people are trying to get through the day. I've got a better objective for you. Learn to get from the day. Not just get through it, get from it. Soak it up. Each day is a piece of the mosaic of your life. Don't waste any. Treat them with care. See how much you can get from a day. How much advice, how much information, how much color, how much sight and sound to add to your worth and your wealth and your equity of mind. Here's the next skill. Develop the skill to respond. The ability to be affected by what you see and hear and sense. Success is not just knowledge. Success is response to knowledge. Success is not just experience. Success is emotion created from experience. It's the emotional part that plays such a big, major part in our life and our future and our success. Responding to life means let sad things make you sad. Let happy things make you happy. Let puzzling things puzzle you. Right? Let things that are difficult create difficulty for you. Respond. I'm the greatest guy in the world to take to the movies. I get affected by a good movie. I'm willing to go. If they want to take me on a journey, if it's a good movie, good dialogue, something good to see, watch this whole story unfold, I'm willing to go. I forget everything and just go. Be affected by it. I was in Melbourne, Australia, not that long ago, and I saw an advertisement. See Dr. Zhivago on the big screen. I thought, I got to go see it on the big screen, right? They got these little cracker box theaters now, right? I like the big movie theaters with the drapes and the chandeliers and the balconies, right? I mean, that's the movies. These little cracker boxes now, right? Popcorn 2 feet deep. I mean, you know, and when you walk out of your shoes because they stick to the floor. I mean, it leaves a lot to be desired. But to see a movie in a proper movie theater on the big screen, I got enticed by it. And I'd seen Dr. Zhivago, I don't know, probably half a dozen times, right? I said, I got to go see it, though, one more time on the big screen. So I go, sure enough, this sweeping saga, drama of the Russian Revolution, right? Dr. Zhivago, the whole story unfolds. And I'm swept along by it all. But up until that particular time, I had always missed the significance of the end of the movie. But this time I got it. The other times I'd missed it. Comrade General says, Tanya, how did you come to be lost? And she said, I was just lost. He said, no, how did you come to be lost? And she didn't want to say. She said, well, my father and I were running through the city. It was on fire. The revolution had come. And I was lost. And Comrade General said, no, Tanya, how did you come to be lost? And she finally said, while we were running, my father let go of my hand, and I was lost. That's what she didn't want to say. He let go. Comrade General says, Tanya, that's what I've been trying to tell you. I'm positive Komorowski was not your real father. This man, Dr. Zhivago, that I knew well, I'm positive he was your father. I've been looking for you. I think I found you. This man, Dr. Zhivago, this was your real father. And he said, Tanya, let me tell you something. If this man, your real father, had been there, I promise you, he would never have let go of your hand. And I got it. I got it that time. Wow. The other times I'd missed it, right? I'm eating popcorn waiting for the movie to finish, I guess. I don't know. The other times. So that's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to get it. And I'm asking you to let it affect you. Let it do things to you. It builds your emotional bank. It builds your emotional bank. Number 3 is reflect. Learn to reflect. Reflecting is an extra way of getting more value from what you know and what you've been through. Reflecting is going back over. Let me give you some good times to reflect. 1, at the end of the day. Take just a few minutes at the end of the day and go back over the day. Find a place, right? If you can, get alone. Just go back and think through the day. Where have you been, and what did you see, and what did you hear, and what did you feel? If you'll just relive it, go back through it, I'm telling you, it will add multiplied value to you. The day you've just been through will be more valuable for your future if you just go back through it. Take a few hours at the end of the week. Hours at the end of the week, right? Minutes at the end of the day, hours at the end of the week, half a day at the end of the month, a weekend at the end of the year. Those are called times to reflect. Now, why go back over? Why run the tapes again? Let me tell you why. To make the past more valuable. It's like color enhancers. Right? The cameras take pictures of Jupiter, right, on its flyby. But let me tell you what they do with those pictures, right? The computer has learned to enhance them with color, so they become vivid and unique. And our eyes get big, and we take a look and we say, wow, with the enhancers. And that's what will happen to your life. If you'll take the time to review what's going on, review the decisions you're making, review the people you're with, review the action you're taking, the decisions you're making, review all that stuff, go back through the feelings, go back through what's happening. I'm telling you, the color enhancers of your own mind will make your own life more valuable. Now, why try to make your life valuable? Simple answer, to invest it in the future. We call that bright. We call that skillful. To make more out of your past, to have more value to invest in the future. That's a different attitude than just trying to get through one more day, trying to get through one more week. Is to gather up your past and invest it in the future. When my father was about to turn 76, I said, "Dear father of mine, can you imagine how exciting it's going to be to take the last 75 years of your life and invest them in your 76th? That's an extraordinary thing to learn, how to take more of you and invest it in the next conversation, invest it in the next decision, invest it in the next activity." Okay. Now here's number 4. Fourth ability. Develop the ability to act. The ability to take action on your feelings and your knowledge. Action, disciplined action, is what gives birth to ideas, enterprise, value. Without activity, ideas and dreams are stillborn. They have no life. Disciplined activity is the most demanding of arts to take you where you want to go. Now, sometimes it doesn't take much of a change of activity. Let me show you this little illustration. Let's say here's where you are. Just put a little dot on your paper and say, here's where you are. In 10 years, you can be here, or in 10 years, you can be here. And in 10 years, there's a lot of difference between here and here. But right now, there isn't much difference in daily disciplines. Daily, weekly disciplines are those small changes of intelligent activity that take you now in a better direction. We use a good question that says, 10 years from now, you will surely arrive. The question is, where? Right? Good question. Now, here's the comment. Now's the time to fix it. Now's the time to fix the next 10 years. Fix a better course. Now, to unsophisticated people, what they do during the day doesn't seem to matter. But to sophisticated people, it makes all the difference in the world. The books you read, the actions you take, the disciplines you engage in on a daily basis, those are the activities that are taking you somewhere. And all of us need to take a look at where our daily activities are taking us. Okay. That's number 3. Disciplined activity. Activity of learning, activity of mind. Okay. Health disciplines, wealth disciplines. Culture disciplines. Right. All values come from disciplines. Ideas put into disciplined activity create value. Now here's number 5. The 5th ability. In our personal development quest, developing skills that create success in the marketplace. Number 5 is develop the ability to share. Sharing is a unique human capacity. Sharing is a phenomenon, especially in the human experience. It seems when we share, we are the bigger and the better for it. It looks like if you shared something and gave it away, you'd be less. But it's a paradox. This is a paradox. What you share creates for you more. That's why we call it a paradox. You're not diminished by sharing, you're increased. If you have a child and you love it dearly, if the second child comes along, must you now cut your love in half? And the answer is no. From some strange, mysterious source comes an increased capacity. From sharing with the first, capacity and awareness and uniqueness is increased. So that's what I would ask you to do. Become gifted in sharing. There's many ways to share. One is by language. The gift of language. One of the most important studies for you is the study of communication. How to affect other people with words. I've got some good steps to communication. One is have something good to say. Saying something it has to come from something. You can't speak what you don't know. Talking is like writing a check. And you want to make sure you've got a verbal check that'll cash when you get ready to talk. And here's the true power of communication, when what you say is only the tip of the iceberg of all you know. We call that power. I'm sure we've all been around some people who very quickly told us more than they knew. But this is called do your homework. Have something good to share. Have something good to say. Communication is part of sharing. Then learn to say it well. Part of the gift of language is saying it uniquely. John Kennedy said of Churchill during World War II, Winston Churchill had the unique ability to take the English language and send it into battle. And the words he composed and the speeches he gave and the language and the style gave such hope and uniqueness and structure to the free world that soon the enemy was defeated. But part of it was the structure of the language, the skill, the gift of saying things well is one of those incredible gifts. Saying it well. Then learning to read your audience. When you talk, you just got to be interested enough to look and see how you're doing. I had to learn that. At first I was so absorbed in what I was saying, I'm sure the audience could have left and I would have never known it. But I finally learned to look up and see what's going on here, over here, in the back. My largest audience has been 10,500 people. And that is a real stretch, right? What's going on? 3 balconies. I had people behind me. And I wasn't the only speaker that day. Art Linkletter, Paul Harvey, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. But that was an experience for me. Learning to read, to see, to study the reflection of whoever you're communicating with. That's an art, that's a skill. And the last one is intensity. Words with strong feeling change the meaning. Words can have power if they're loaded with emotion and belief and courage, love, understanding, awareness, sympathy, concern, being touched by somebody. If you put more of that into what you say, it'll have a more incredible effect. Those kind of skills to share, to articulate, to give people a reading on what's going on in our heart, our mind, our soul, our spirit. Learn to share your emotions. And the last one is learn to share your knowledge. You can't believe how well you can help somebody just by recommending a book, recommend a poem, share a word, a phrase. You say, hey, I just read this. I think you'll get a lot out of it. Somebody reads it and comes back and say, hey, that had an impact on my life. I'm glad you shared that with me. That started me thinking. That started me looking, started me reaching, started me searching. And you can start getting compliments. I'm now lecturing to about 7,000 people a month, 6,000, 7,000. And I get now lots of letters and phone calls, people saying, what you said made a difference for me. And that's an incredible feeling. But you don't have to lecture to 7,000 to get that same feedback. All you have to do is recommend a book, share an idea. Somebody comes back and says, that book got me started. The things you told me that breakfast that morning, wow, I've been thinking about that. I'm making some changes. So you can have this incredible pleasure that comes from sharing ideas. Now, another unique thing about sharing is what you pour out creates capacity for more. So if you pour out what you know, if you pour out what you feel, if you let go in a sharing way, the good things that have come your way, it's part of the skill in the marketplace of developing success, wealth, and value. And I would wish that for you. In fact, all of the things we've talked about today, I would wish for you the benefit that comes from it all. But I know that it takes the discipline first. One last phrase. Promise is on the other side of price. For the promise, you must always pay the price. I'm sure we've all watched the television show Fame, where the teacher says, here's where you start to pay. If you want the glory of the stage, and not just the glory of the stage, but a glory of a unique family, if you want the glory and the recognition of a unique enterprise, if you want the glory of a job well done, you got to pay up front. And this is part of the pay. But once you get a taste of value, you don't mind paying the discipline. So I want to thank you today for letting me come by and have a chance to visit with you. And I wish for you all these good things that come from paying the price. The next time we get together, I'm sure we'll be able to trade some stories about the value we've gotten from sharing with each other today. Thank you for inviting me. See you next time.